We're hoping for December. December. Awesome. If not December, then February. And I'll post through. Yeah. It's a whole different. We just bought the equipment. Yeah. We can. That's really awesome. Yeah. I can have like just like finger food kind of thing, or like full on. We'll have food. Oh, food. Yeah. Depending on the space, we may eventually incorporate a small. Yeah. Out of the gate, we want to
Well, that's because we're over by your code.
Really come up and see if it's quieter.
I did, right?
None of the
I don't even know what he's going to talk about.
No before. It's an anti-fishing. Yeah.
I know what the other.
So you're actually supposed to do it.
Yeah.
I end up doing it twice because I have to for my contract signing.
Oh,
And then I do the Sloan one.
yeah, you're like, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's like I keep trying to get things going.
I did it one time. Like, I was okay. I was like, I don't know what she's gonna do. So, like, you know, we say cat, it's sort of hard.
Yeah. Okay. All set? We're recording?
We are on Zoom and
All right. We will call this regular city council meeting to order for July 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mayor Carrington,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Here.
Councilmember Cooper, Councilmember Cooper,
I'm here.
Ah,
Can you hear me?
we heard ya.
that time we heard we muted ourselves.
Councilmember Irby,
Here.
Councilmember Graver, Councilmember Hudson, here, Councilmember Alcantara.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and I believe Councilmember Graver is, I think, back over in Japan with her husband, and so she mentioned that to us. So, if there's no objection, we'll give her an excused absence for that. All right, see no objection, we'll say that's excused. And next, everyone can stand, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Chief Bozeman.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next is approval of the agenda, which includes the minutes from the May 30th special meeting. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Is there any question on the agenda? All right, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Graver's not here, Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
and Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
All right, we have the agenda. Next, I don't think we have any communications and appearances. So we have a city manager's report next.
Yes, thank you. Irene Wagner. Just a few updates. Interviews for the human resource manager position are currently underway, and I look forward to completing this process and rounding out our administrative team. As always, our contracted firm, Soaringbird Solutions, continues to be a valuable resource for city employees. And I'd like to thank Rick Battis and his team who have been instrumental in supporting Paul over the past several months. Interview process for the fire chief position have concluded, and I will be announcing the selected candidates shortly. Last week, I had a productive meeting with fellow Valley mayors and managers. We discussed several potential areas of collaboration, including animal control services, an item included on tonight's agenda. These conversations reflect our commitment to finding efficient ways to serve our communities. The Firewood Avenue project is progressing well and remains on schedule for substantial completion in mid-August. And as a heads up, the outbound lanes of Evergreen Avenue will be reduced to one lane to allow our team to perform necessary water line repairs July 25th and 27th. So please plan your travels accordingly. In a month, addressing along nearly doubled its capacity. Following initial public introduction and discussion during the May 23rd, 2023 City Council meeting, I moved forward with repurposing the space. This decision supports a directive I've received from the entire fix the parking. It also results in public health and safety concerns that have been growing surrounding those overgrown tracks. As many are aware, the tracks that are in an area that were disconnected from the main line years ago and no longer part of any current or future railway projects. Over time, the tracks have become overgrown, unsafe, and pose a liability risk to the city, making this project a practical course of action. We are using taxpayer dollars wisely while delivering a direct and visible benefit to the community. And I want to thank our public works team for the quick and effective work in bringing this solution to life. The Palmer Municipal Airport Lighting Project is currently out for bid. And please note the submission deadline has been extended from today to July 25th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Work continues on the airport master plan, with activity expected to ramp up in late fall. The Airport Advisory Commission and city leadership will work closely together to guide the process and ensure the plan reflects stakeholder needs and priorities. And as a friendly reminder, records requests are processed through the city manager's office. Submitting forms to other departments or locations may cause delays. So if you've already submitted a request to the clerk's office or elsewhere, please allow our office a period of grace. However, once we receive those records requests, immediate action is taken. Palmer Police Department continues to process their own requests. And looking ahead, Celebrate Palmer takes place this Friday, July 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. Join us for an evening of fun and games, including Cream Council and Dump the Director. There will be plenty of activities for kids, so bring the whole family and enjoy the evening. Finally, I'd like to invite Whitney from the Palmer Police Department to provide an update on your proposed chip loan agreement that will go before the council for consideration in August.
Some stuff that has out to council too. Just make sure your microphone's on today.
All right, so I have passed out a fact sheet, so all of the frequently asked questions that would potentially surround a joint venture with Chicago PD for us to provide dispatch services with them. So basically, Niger-based Palmer Police Department, we are asking to, or requesting approval potentially provide dispatch services for the Chicago Police Department. This partnership will involve our agency dispatching Chicago PD personnel to calls for service that fall within their approved scope of authority and within their tribal jurisdiction. Calls will be received via a 10-digit non-emergency business line. We're working through that with Chief Anthony. If a community member within their area calls 911, these calls will still be routed through MACCOM to an Alaska State Trooper. Operationally, Chicago officers may also self-initiate activity on tribal matters, and in those instances, they will appeal into our dispatch center via radio, advising of their response to a specific address and the parties involved. Our dispatchers will then track their activity using a CAD system supplied by Chicago PD, ensuring proper documentation for officer safety and reporting purposes. And this workflow will mirror the current process that we already have in place for our Palmer patrol units, and is considered standard practice for law enforcement dispatching. Our agency will not be directing enforcement actions, only facilitating communications, ensuring officer safety and documentation of the activity within their jurisdiction. that is what we are hoping to do.
Madam Manager, is it okay if we ask some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does the council have any questions they want to ask at this time? Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we have a few of our constituents that they can't hear when we talk, and I've never been accused of that before. I think I'm pretty loud, but you get close to the mic. Is there any way to know how many calls this is? Any estimate of what kind of call traffic this is? Because I'm looking for a map of Alaska around here, and for some reason, sort of like that old Sesame Street thing, Port Huyton seems out of place in this things get out, or I don't know what Port Huyton is. So I was curious what the number of phone calls could be, and if you have an answer for that.
So I don't have a number specifically for Port Huyton. I want to say with my stats that was provided by GBNC last year, they had responded to just under 900 calls in their area. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay. She's in the audience too. A lot of them are, motor assistance, welfare checks, security checks. They respond to various calls, but that would be a totally different conversation with Chippeloon for what exactly they're responding to. But the call, we would have the stats of what our dispatchers are taking on right now, what Chippeloon is asking, and basically what the next steps would be if they grew with their personnel.
Thank you for that information.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Alcantara. Those are some good questions. And just sort of a question after that, but I just want to say I'm really excited about this. This is going to be a really great thing that goes through that will benefit both of our communities, and happy to see my G base being doing this. So just want to say kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm also very excited to see this come forward. So thank you so much for all the information. And I'm personally excited to see a little bit of expansion with 9G base. I think you guys are more than capable and more than willing, and I think this is going to be really great for the city and for Chicken. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from council? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Manager, do you have any more for your reports?
That's it for now.
Okay. Does council have any other questions for the manager? Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Manager Zirkle, you mentioned the doubling of parking spots. Do you have a number on that? Is that from 10 to 20 or 20 to 40, or what's the parking scenario that you mentioned earlier in your report?
I don't know the exact number of what we have over there, but it is nearly double the parking spaces available for the public now in that particular area.
Okay. Awesome.
I'd be happy to circle back with you tomorrow and get the exact number.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Thank you, sir. If I could just have a small suggestion, is there a way we can put up signs just to let people know public parking? A lot of people think it's just for the depot usage, and maybe some signs that we can so people know, hey, there's parking right around here.
I would happy to do put up public parking signs there so people are aware, and then also have event signs so that if the depot is rented, that we can assure that people that are renting it that there is reserved spaces for that as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Next is Mayor's report. I have a written report in there, and I was also just going to mention that the Mets and Miners beat the Bucks last night, so they're one more win away from the top of the world title for this, which is happening. And that's all I have. Is there any questions for me on my report? Okay. City Clerk's report.
I don't have too much to report. I just need to remind everybody that candidate filing period opened yesterday, and it closes on August 1st, which is next Friday at 4 p.m. So far, I've given out 5 packets, and I've received 1 back. If anybody has any questions.
Council have any questions for the clerk? No? All right. City Attorney's report.
Good evening, all. So circling back to the draft ordinance that would be banning camping in city limits, I've been working with the city manager, the police, community development, and Councilwoman Wagner on that. And just wanted to let you know we anticipate a draft to be on the August 26th agenda. I will be out of country for the August 12th meeting, and so I will not be available. But I am coordinating with the clerk and the city manager in advance. If council has any upcoming concerns, it's 3 weeks from now, so give me a call and details. And then I've been working with dispatch, the police chief, and the city manager on the draft contract for the dispatch services to Chippewa. It's going to be a fairly simple professional services agreement with termination for convenience for both parties. And additional to that, AST has offered a letter of support, and the city of Palmer will be providing communication support for dispatch. This contract is in its final draft stages, and we anticipate that to be presented to the council for approval also on August 26th.
All right, does council have any questions for the attorney? On your report? Okay, next we have audience participation. So council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. Council meeting rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. At all times, order and decorum will be maintained in keeping with the civility and dignity in the legislative process. Please be respectful during audience participation. No disruptions to city business or threats of any kind will be allowed. Individuals who cannot follow these guidelines will be removed. Any threats against others could result in criminal prosecution. So please sign in, start with your name, and 3 minutes per person. We'll open audience participation. I can't see who's first.
Would you like persons? Yes.
Sure.
We were signing late.
Okay.
Yes.
Just bring us the first page.
Yes.
Yeah. Make it easier for them too. Thank you.
Oh, did I see what she says?
Good evening. My name is Prudence McKinney. I'm a longtime Valley resident, and I'm currently the president of the Friends of the Palmer Public Library. Just here with a little reminder, I guess. So last Thursday, the library had a program, as they have been doing every week in the summer. Last week it was foam sword building at the pavilion. They had pool noodles that people could cut down to make foam swords. They had cardboard for shields, and the library had 3D printed sword handles for them. 229 people came out on a random Thursday. It was a nice day too. Came out on a random Thursday morning, middle of the summer, to play around with foam swords on the library, on the lawn outside the pavilion. And as you might imagine, after that was over, they were hot and tired and thirsty and hungry, so they went and got food and drink and hung around in downtown Palmer for a while. 2 days before that, on the Tuesday, at the depot, the library set a record for their story time attendance. They had 69 people come to story time, hang out at the depot for an hour, listen to stories, sing songs, and again, guess what they did afterwards? They went out for food and drinks, and they went shopping, and they hung around downtown Palmer. What other entity do you have in downtown Palmer that is bringing those kinds of people into downtown Palmer on the regular, other than Friday Fling, which goes on for however many weeks in the summer, and the state fair is once a year or whatever. But the library is doing that for you week after week after week, right? So now we have a big gaping hole in the ground, which is good. Like, we're happy that progress is being made and the library has been demolished. But we need the new, right? So the voters approved the $10 million bond, and then y'all said, no, we don't want to take that money, but it's too much money, we can't afford it, we don't want the taxpayers to pay for it. Okay, fine. So now you've got your employees out writing grants and getting grants, and you're going, well, I don't know if we want to take that money, there might be strings attached, even though your own employees wrote the grant. It's not like somebody said, hey, let's give them $500,000 in exchange for something. They wrote the grant to get the money. And y'all are going, well, I don't know. You had a community member who was ready to hand you a check for $1 million, and that got blown apart. Do you think we could please focus on moving forward. I feel like, every couple months we have a meeting like this, a whole bunch of people show up and say, yeah, we love the library, and all you guys go, oh yeah, we love the library, it's great, and then the next 3 meetings you do 6 things that take us 17 steps backward. So please, accept the $500,000 from the Rasmussen Foundation tonight, accept the $500,000 from the Health Foundation tonight. You can do in like a 30-second Google search, you can find the literally 100 plus organizations the Health Foundation gives money to every year of every political persuasion. Keep your personal politics out of it. Take the money. Thank you.
Robin Turk.
Good evening, Robin Turk, and resident of the Valley. Need anything else on that requirement? I have a very short statement to make on resolution to accept funding from the Health Foundation. And I would like to encourage council members to approve this resolution. You need only to look at the text of the resolution itself to understand the benefits and need for the council to accept this generous donation from the Matsu Health Foundation. The new library will fit nicely with the city's goal of energizing Palmer, providing space for activities, reading, research, homeschool, workspace, and more. The only thing missing from getting the new library rolling is your signatures. We have a voter's approval, a completed plan, and the lot is cleared. Let's get the new library done so the community can enjoy. Thank you.
Janelle Ganon. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Is it Janelle?
Janelle.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Janelle Ganon, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a resident of Palmer, and I am a past president of the Friends of the Palmer Public Library. I'm also a past board member for the Matsu Library Board, and I think you're going to hear a lot of the same thing tonight, just to urge you to please accept the $1 million for the library. I think that there's overwhelming approval on the part of this community for this library, and I think it's a real testament to the person who wrote the grants that the 2 largest grantors in the state are willing to hand you $1 million for an organization or an entity within this community that is willing to serve everybody and does serve everybody. So that's all I have to say. Please accept the money.
Next is Palmer Group.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I come to you, my name is Jackie Goforth, and I'm speaking on behalf of the group Palmer Friends. And I would like the 5 minutes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody speaks about how much they love Palmer and how amazing it is. Everybody. They mention the atmosphere, the charm, the ambiance, the romance, the trains. The city was named Alaska at its best, and anyone you talk to will tell you why they say that. So it defies belief that there's such a continuous effort to gut the heart of it. After its history, its ambiance, its roots, its uniqueness, all the things that make Palmer so special, the leftist, Marxist, socialist, woke people seem determined to turn Palmer into a mini Anchorage. Let me describe it for you. Everyone remembers the BLM march and the pro-abortion gatherings, but surely everyone recalls the attempt to subjugate everyone by masking them, right? And when that failed, they had an online attempt to ruin businesses by having a boycott. We have the online boycott documents to prove it. But that failed, so then there was an attempt to alter Palmer history over at the museum. States that the land was stolen somehow through violence, disease, and colonizing forces. We have the documents to prove that too. After that failure, an attempt was made to damage 2 beloved Palmer festivals. I'm speaking of Colony Days. You remember the change to Brady River Festival? That's the one. This one has the Matsu Health Foundation's name right on it. You're looking at the grant. The grant says $15,000 to rename Colony Days. Why? Because people will find it offensive and hurtful. That is a Matsu Health Foundation document. After that failure, an attempt was made, where is it? Oh, that one failed. Okay. That brings me to the next try. The next try is called a startup nonprofit called the Palmer Coalition for Arts and Culture. Their goal was to reshape our community into a hub of arts and culture within walking distance of the core area of the city of Palmer. You've got the document in front of you. The selected site was over by the jail, by the way. The building height was elevated to over 2 stories so they could put in a tower with hotels. And the center was supposed to have an area for expanded and updated museum, commercial development, a small modern theater, a gallery for local artwork, space for established, office and meeting rooms. That one failed too. So next we got a city manager who went behind the backs of the people to not only defund the police, but he tried to destroy the entire emergency department. 911, fire department, you name it. That one failed. And now we have a $500,000 grant from the same Matsu Health Foundation that tried to change our historic festival names. They now approach the city dangling money, offering a $500,000 grant, which is supposedly toward the new library. The trouble is that line in there that says, no, it's number 1, that we need to handle the proposal. No one will show me what's in the proposal, so let me tell you what I think it says. I think it says meeting rooms and office space. They're already in the design. Let's add in commercial development that might involve parking via removal of train tracks. Let's add in the actual museum. Let's add in a modern theater. It's kind of like the pavilion. Let's add a gallery and call it reflective spaces, or maybe train people. And let's build a amphitheater. And what if all of this is supposed to be linked via pedestrian walkways that are unrestricted? And how does that work when you have streets there? Is that where the amphitheater goes? It says we are beholden to follow that if we accept this money. Why is that line still in there? But that brings me to the railroad tracks. Those tracks are sacrosanct. Everybody in Palmer speaks about them. I listened November 26th to people speak over and over and over again about how they didn't want the tracks removed just from the intersection of, Evergreen, and the Colony. Just that little section. And they approved it. And we were guaranteed, we were assured and reassured by the Public Works Department that only those tracks would be removed. We were assured of it. There are reasons why some people are not trustworthy. We were assured of it, and then tracks are getting disappeared. Okay, so, instead of demolishing the industry, why don't you try and preserve it? If you want to not take the tracks out, put resin on them or something so they're still there. Why do we have to rip up Palmer in order to make it a mini Anchorage? And I want you to know that I walked by the library in Salt Lake in January. It's a beautiful edifice. It looks like a Roman aqueduct, but it's owned by the homeless people. They own it. They own it. You don't dare step on that property and they will shadow you along the sidewalk and ask for money. I got accosted 4 times. That is what happens when you build something so wonderful and turn it into a mini Anchorage. And Anchorage is already removing the homeless from their parks and their park areas with tickets. And some of them are setting up in Eagle River now. We're not that much further north. Please, think. Thank you.
Irene Wagner.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Dr. Irene Wagner.
I might pull up closer.
My name is Dr. Irene Wagner. Is that better? I live in Palmer. I speak for myself and my family and the citizens of this community. I'm here tonight to urge you to move forward without further delay on the construction of our new library. The voters have spoken. The funding is in place. The time is to act now. This library is more than bricks and mortar. It's a promise. A promise of access to education, information, and opportunity for every member of our community, from young learners to older adults. Libraries don't just house books. They grow minds, reduce isolation, and support lifelong learning. The idea of the library is something to cherish. It's a beacon to a safe place where children can do homework after school, or enjoy some of those programs you heard about earlier. It's where seniors can read or connect, where members of our community can explore big ideas and find multiple resources that invigorate, challenge, engage, and enhance their minds and delight them. It means freedom. Freedom to learn, to grow, to explore, and to feel safe while doing it. I'm still reeling from what COVID did to us as human beings, to our children and their education. We need a beacon for them. This is an opportunity, actually, it's an obligation to gain back some of that we lost. In short, the library is a unifying investment in our future. Every delay wastes public funds, breaks trust with voters, and risks increased construction costs. I urge you to honor the will of the voters, accept and use the funding as intended, and begin construction. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Mary Robinson.
Good evening, my name is Mary Robinson. I am a Matsu Borough resident. I do not attend King's Chapel. I do not attend Apostolic Worship Center. I am not a member of any Matsu Republican Club, nor do I belong to the local chapter of a national NGO known as Moms for Liberty. Spoiler alert, they may be mothers, but they're not for liberty. I had the privilege of going to several MEA meetings recently, and they had an interesting custom where each director was asked if they had been in communication with anybody about MEA, about power, and each director said, yes, for instance, an assembly member spoke to me about coal-fired power. Yes, a council member spoke to me about renewable energy. Wouldn't that be great? As local activists, Ms. Goforth said recently vis-a-vis Mayor Carrington's recall after the APOC complaint, transparency isn't optional in democracy, it is the foundation of trust. So wouldn't it be wonderful if city council members, borough assembly members, any elected officials said, I've publicly aligned myself with Group XYZ. Recently, July 17th, marked the 5-year anniversary of the death of Congressman John Lewis. He represented a district in Georgia for over 30 years, was taken down by stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He said, democracy isn't something we inherit. We build democracy one action at a time. We fight one battle at a time, with every election, with every vote, with every recall. Sorry, Mayor Carrington. Every act of courage, every refusal to remain silent. My faith calls me to speak out against injustice. It is completely unjust that this has dragged on for almost 3 years. I had the privilege of serving on almost every committee, bringing the Wasilla Library to fruition 9 years ago, up to and including making cupcakes for the ribbon cutting ceremony the night before. I know how difficult it is to address questions and concerns from the community and all levels of government officials. Please, please move forward on the Palmer Library. Thank you.
Kim Evans.
Good evening, my name is Kim Evans. I really appreciate your time and attention this evening. Good evening, Councilmember Victoria Edson and Councilmember Tudor, and Mayor Carrington, and Member Irby, and Mr. Alcantara, and I know you're online, Mr. Gruber. Thank you for tuning in and listening tonight. I appreciate the time to talk and have you hear my plea, adding to the others, that we move forward on the Palmer public library rebuilt. I have many friends and colleagues. One this morning told me that she doesn't go to the Palmer Public Library hardly ever anymore because she can't browse. So she waits until she can go to Anchorage, where she's spending money. And I've heard that many times. People spend money. They go to Sutton, they go to Wasilla. That's all great. As our first speaker said tonight, people are not committed spending quite as many tax dollars. I have colleagues and friends who live in the city of Palmer who have said to me over and over again that they want this library built. I know that the bond package passed with overwhelming support, and I think that should give you enough, besides audience participation tonight, enough reason to say this is clearly wanted in our community. Those friends and colleagues I have, especially the ones who live in the city of Palmer, want you to be good stewards, and I know that you also want to be a good steward. So turning down $1 million in donation, I can't quite understand that. The Rasmussen Foundation round of $500,000 that's a lot of money, and then $500,000 from the Matsu Health Foundation. From my reading, there aren't strings attached, just for the building. There's no content included, so I'm not really sure what the problems are. One of our earlier speakers did say that they wanted for the library, for the city of Palmer to continue with its history. Well, libraries help with history in the city. So I'm going to urge you all, please, to accept that money and without delay, please move forward on the rebuild. I believe that almost everyone in Palmer really wants that library rebuilt. Thank you again for your time and wonderful attention to this matter.
Peter House.
Good evening. Can you hear me fine? Excellent. My name is Peter House, and I am here in support of the library as well, too, as you probably can imagine. As a way of bringing it home, I'd like to share, we've heard a number of testimonies about the abstract value of libraries, and I'd like to bring it home with a story, a real one that happened here. About 10 years ago, coming this December, 10 days before Christmas, there was somebody from Palmer who suffered a traumatic brain injury. They lost the ability to smell. They also, because the injury was on the left side of the brain, they lost the ability to sequence, and that had the impact that they had temporarily lost the ability to read. That is because, if any of you are familiar with the left side of the brain, that is the side of the brain that sequences. So words were understood, but the letters or the words would all come at the reader at the same time. So you can imagine the kind of difficulty that this reader had when they were asked by their partner to read children's books and try to piece together the sentences in front of their children. And that difficulty led them to understand that, well, maybe they need to really work on their literacy. And so bit by bit, over about a year, they averaged a book a week, stitching back together their ability to read. That ability came from just focusing on just reading, not even worrying about the content, whether it was children's books, adult poetry, philosophy, so on and so forth, just whatever they could get their hands on. And at the very end of December, they packed in a lot of really thin, small books, and were able to make that one book a week average. Over time, that individual was able to not just learn one, but 2 languages as well, too. Prior to the head injury, they knew no languages outside English. And this is all due to the fact that starting out, we started out with library books. As you probably guess, that person is myself. So 10 years ago, I had a head injury, and if it wasn't for the library and the presence of readily accessible books for the purposes of just restoring one's capacity to think, to be able to contribute, and frankly, to run a business. Because if you can't read technology, well, what are you there for? So, obviously libraries play an important role for children, but they also play an important role for adults. And stories like mine, I'm willing to bet you they're a little bit like, about one, there's probably 100 other stories out in the community, in these are valuable stories. The difference for me, in between reading and not reading is the difference between being a tax-paying. Sorry, that's my time. Thank you.
Maybe, is it Obi? All right.
I guess something coming enough that you got it. So I am here in support of the library. It's a priority guest. I feel like I've come to a lot of these meetings, probably not enough. And I came for a couple reasons. I was pretty flabbergasted that you guys postponed accepting $500,000 towards our library. I'm wondering, and maybe I shouldn't give this group any more ideas, but I just saw from the Chamber of Commerce, we're going to have the Trick or Treat Street, which is an awesome event in Palmer. Proudly displayed on the flyer from the Chamber is that Matzo Health Foundation gave money towards the Trick or Treat Street put on by the Chamber of Commerce. Does this group go to all the meetings and protest money from the Matzo Health Foundation as much as they are for the city library? I think we should all question that. The Matzo Health Foundation gives tons of money to our community. So I'm here to say thank you to the Matzo Health Foundation for being such an amazing organization that funds all of these cool things that we get to do. I also want to say congratulations to the librarians who submitted the grant proposals and were able to secure $1 million from 2 different granting organizations. As a person who also writes grants, that is amazing, and we should be congratulating them for their hard work and their dedication to Palmer and being such awesome employees for our city. So all the city council should be thanking them for securing this funding. I'm a Palmer resident, and I voted to approve the bond to build a library. At the same time, if you are not accepting money from other organizations, that is putting the tax burden on me and other city residents. If you are saying no, that you don't want outside money, I will have to pay more money to secure that bond or to pay for the bond, whatever. So please accept the money. It's the smart thing to do. It's the right thing to do. That's all I really have to say. I mean, we need to get the library built. I am ready. My daughter's ready. I know the community's ready. That's why you have such a big audience here tonight. Just do the right thing. Thank you.
Allison Collins.
Good evening, my name is Allison Collins, and at the risk of being redundant, I am also here in support of the library, and particularly to urge the council to accept the grants from the Rasmussen Foundation as well as the Matsu Health Foundation. After last city council meeting, I understood that the council wanted some more information before voting on accepting that grant from the Matsu Health Foundation, and I hope that the council was able to obtain that. I was also left with the impression, based on a couple of negative voices heard here regularly, that, left with questions about who is the Matsu Health Foundation. And so I did a little research on that. And as one of the other individuals here mentioned, when we talk about transparency, the Matsu Health Foundation has a searchable grants database online where they list absolutely every grant they've given. As far as some of the other organizations that they've donated to just in this year, 2025, includes Matsu Youth Court, the Warrior Soccer Booster Club, Girl Scouts of Alaska, CCS Early Learning, the Chamber of Commerce, Young Men's Christian Association, the Museum of Alaska Transportation Industry, Denali Arts Council, Friends of the Sutton Library, Victory Ministries, Caring for Military Families, many of the schools in the area, the United Way, True North Recovery, Matsu Running Club, Braveheart Maternity, Future Farmers of America, Special Olympics, Valley Charities, Denali Nordic Ski, Blood and Fire Ministry, Kids Cupboard. Of course, the list goes on and on. But so there was the, like I said, left the impression that perhaps Matsu Health Foundation had strings attached or had some kind of outside agenda. What I didn't see in doing some research on the organization is any complaints about there being any sort of invisible strings attached to grants that they've given to any of these other organizations, or that the Matsu Health Foundation has somehow tried to micromanage how those grant monies were used. And as I read the resolution here and the grant is the Matsu Health Foundation expects the money to be used for what they offered the grant for, awarded the grant for, and that is the building of the library. I don't see in that wording any other potential strings being attached. As pointed out by the organization itself online, there's no social agenda or political ideology of the group, and I think a variety of the grant recipients testify to that, as far as there being very conservative groups obtaining grants and more liberal groups. Their stated objective is to improve the health of the community, and I think we certainly see that they put their money where their mouth is as far as that goes. Thank you.
I think it's Vicky Malone. Does that sound right?
I'm Vicky Malone, and I must confess to you that I'm actually a resident of Wasilla, but I have a daughter-in-law and 3 granddaughters who live 10 minutes from this building, and they were unable to be here tonight, so I'm testifying in their behalf. And I just have 2 brief comments. First of all, I would like to thank you and congratulate you for, as a former commercial lines insurance agent, for all the hard work that you put in to get a settlement on this building. And I know that that was probably many, many arduous hours. Partial losses, debris removal, and demolition are 3 of the toughest issues in insurance. So congratulations on getting that job done. And the second comment I want to make is that I certainly support the library for the overall health of the community. Given the proclivity of my granddaughters for Palmer boys and their love of Palmer, I may well have great grandchildren here. But I researched it, and the Matsu Health Foundation's funding primarily comes from the Matsu Regional Hospital, which is owned, I believe, by a Fortune 500 company. It is very unlikely that their funder has any other motivations in doing a community foundation other than garnering the goodwill of the community. Generally, health corporations for profit are kind of thought of to be rather conservative people. And insurance, health providers in general have weighed in pretty conservatively on most issues. So I urge you to accept the money and accept the goodwill of this foundation, whose sole purpose is to garner our goodwill.
Katie Huan.
Hello, Council. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Katie Huan. My father grew up in this area. My aunt still lives here. I personally do not live here. I live out in the Aleutian Islands. The perspective I'm here to speak from is that of a library staff member. My library 3 years ago closed down to do renovations, and the year that we were closed was the hardest year in my 8 years of that job. We would have people come in and they had something they were looking for, and we knew exactly where it was because it was in storage and we wouldn't be able to get it for them until our building was back. We had so many services that we regularly provide that we were not able to provide because the temporary building we were in was not large enough to or did not have enough extra rooms. And once we were able to reopen in our new building, the number one comment that we got from visitors was that the health of the library that they saw spoke well of the community that it was in. Your library is absolutely going to be the biggest benefit for your community members out of everybody, but it also very much presents to those who come through that, yes, this is a wonderful place to live. This is the standard that we hold ourselves to, because the library is very much, in a lot of ways, the heart of the community. You have, by my understanding, already agreed you're going to rebuild the new library, so I don't need to tell you that a library is important. You already know that. You've agreed to that. So what I am here to ask on behalf of the community and for myself, for when I get the chance to visit, is that you show your integrity by building that library soon, and as your city manager had mentioned earlier in her report, by using taxpayer money wisely by accepting the grants. I can't speak to Maximum Health, but we had grants from the Rasmussen Foundation for our rebuilding, and I can guarantee they did not have strings on them. Thank you.
Linda Sloan.
My name is Linda Sloan. I thank and appreciate Councilmember Hudson for her research and thinking things through, and I thank her for voting no on combining health powers. Councilmember Hudson is correct in what this money could do to harm this community, because it is happening in a lot of left-leaning cities like Anchorage. It's a terrible shame what the Anchorage Assembly has done to a once beautiful city. Crime, drug and alcohol addiction, and filth throughout the city. Once a tourist attraction, Anchorage has lost its appeal. Let's hope none of this money gets used in conjunction with the Matsu Unhealthy Foundation. The Matsu Unhealthy Foundation is noted for its far-left, woke agenda promoting DEI, LGBTQ, transgendering and mutilating minors, and obscene, perverted, vulgar material in libraries. To vote just for the money without moral obligation shows weak and poor judgment and puts this community in jeopardy. When you vote, think of the children of this community and their future, not just of a nice building. I am not against libraries. They can be a wonderful asset to a community, but they should be safe, moral places for children. We are talking about two different topics. You're talking about a building. I am testifying for children. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close this audience participation. And next will be public hearings. There's another public audience participation coming up. There's also 6 public hearings, and anyone can speak to those as well. So we'll take a short break.
Excellent.
025 to, well, now, right for public hearings, H1.
Okay, second that. All right. So everyone understand we're moving unfinished business, which is the Health Foundation grant, to be just before the public hearing. Councilmember Alcantara, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't take any issue with that. It's just that I know several of these people left this building trying to guesstimate when these things were going to come up and figured it was going to be an hour or two before we got to that part of the agenda. So I feel a little bit sheepish and bad that people left because they thought it wasn't going to come up for a long while. They're out there cooling down in that nice 71-degree sunshine and mild winds, and they said they're going to be back here in like an hour and a half. So I don't know. There's still a lot of people in this room, so I could probably be convinced that it's a good thing to move that forward in the agenda. I just feel bad that people that left here that may have wanted to speak to that. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to mention to Councilman Alcantara that while I do agree, I also agree that Mr. Wilson's time is extremely valuable and the meeting seems to be going a little bit late tonight. And he's here to speak with the council, I believe, in case we have any questions directly on that issue. So that's why I would ask the council to move it up. Thank
you.
And I mentioned that we last meeting had the public hearing for that item, so this will be just more discussion and voting. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please, for amending the agenda to move unfinished business to the beginning of public hearings.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay, so next we will look at the unfinished business item, which is resolution number 25-025, a resolution of the Palmer City Council authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate grant funds in the amount of $500,000 from the Matsu Health Foundation for the purpose of constructing a new Palmer Public Library. And there's already a motion on the table that was postponed from our July 19th. And so it's back on the table. Madam Manager.
Yes, thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Wilson for being here to answer questions. And I also would like to add that the Matthew Health Foundation and the City of Palmer administration has been working very well together to figure out these issues and the policies and procedures and make it more clear for the public. And I believe that by striking just a few and Mr. Wilson, if you'd like to come up and answer questions that the council may have, I would appreciate that.
Mr. Wilson, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Manager Zirkle. First, I just want to say I apologize for my absence during when this first came up. I have been a member around the state getting a valve replacement, and so I appreciate this opportunity. They're doing well and back in the state, and very happy. There we go. Yeah, there. Sorry for that time.
It's our system. It's our system.
Yes, and so I just want to ensure, and listening to the conversations, listening to the meeting last week, Matsu Health Foundation. You know, our mission is to improve the health and wellness of Alaskans living in the Matsu. Our vision is a community where all persons have the opportunity for a healthy life. Since 2017, we have funded over $2 million to libraries, to Sutton, Willow, City of Wasilla, Talkeetna, and there has been no strings attached. I urge the council, they can reach out to this borough and City of Wasilla. We really just want to see a building to be built for the City of Palmer, as it is a wonderful community hub that provides a lot of benefit and health situations and wellness to the Matsu, especially to the City of Palmer. And if you've already heard all the economic benefits of the library, and that's not what I'm here for, I'm just here to sort of answer questions about we don't have strings attached. I think there is a bit of confusion when we meet policies and procedures. You guys have a copy of those are public on our website. If you like, I can read them into the record, but that's pretty much what we mean by policy and procedures. Any changes to the contract are more of different purpose of a change. So if you wanted to build a shooting range versus a library in that same spot, then that probably would be denied, but those are the type of major changes that we're talking upon that would not go along with those grant agreements or have any exclusivity to the library, where you have a certain membership or only certain individuals, or you have exclusionary practices. Those would be going against the guidelines. When we give, in terms of capital grants of this nature, there is no requirements. We don't have any say, or won't have any say, do not seek to have any say in what programmatic activities are happening there, what books are shelved there. That is the city of Palmer's priorities. Those are your responsibilities, and the Health Foundation does not want to be involved in those activities whatsoever. And I can't speak to any past behaviors of meet with any community member and talk upon any past grants or opportunity or situations that may have occurred, and give a full background understanding of those situations, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions that could be occurring out there. And so I'm just here to answer a few of the questions, and I'll do that now.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. It's always a good job. One of the questions I had on 2 weeks ago, sorry you weren't here, but I know you had important family matters to take care of. But 2 weeks ago was this grant period ending on March 30th, 2026. And that's only like 8 months from now. Are those kind of little tweaks and changes things that Massive Health Foundation can do with our administration that don't require us to go back in and say, hey, unless you can make this 2027, we don't want a part of this? I was telling folks outside that we accept $1 million tonight. That's not getting us any faster with pouring concrete, and as is Rasmussen Foundation. They're both great grants and a great start in the right direction, but it's not going to get us, we've been waiting 2.5 years, and there's a lot of reasons why. But can those changes, like March 30th, 2026, can those changes be made between Matsu Health Foundation and our administration, and not have to come back to council for tweaks, or do we have to change that here tonight before we vote?
Yes, that change happens all the time with capital improvements and grants, especially with supply lines changes. Really, that's just a simple email to the program officer, and that could just be set there. I mean, it's not, like I said, we just want the building built. And I will also say, during my time serving in the Senate, during that tragedy at Houston High School, middle school, that was a terrible situation. That was my district, and it took 5 years. It took a little bit over 2 years to get the insurance done. You guys are doing a great job in terms of how fast you were able to settle that compared to what it took an act of Congress to get done, working with the federal administration and get that done. You guys are on target, on task with that. So just in comparison with that situation, very similar to a library, I think you guys are, that's my own personal opinion, obviously, but to answer the question, yes, we can easily just modify that date change and just basically having the city manager or the council just working with the program grant officer to what would be a more feasible timeline. Thank you.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is actually very similar to Councilman Alcantara's, but it has to do with the proposal that was sent in. So my question is, I think, aimed more towards the city manager. There's a couple things in here that the council had never put forward and approved for this project, and also just some factual information that seems to be incorrect, saying that we serve a community of 32,000 plus residents, that this is to, the goal of the building is to include the amphitheater. So are those things that can be changed after we approve this, or how would you, if those things aren't things we wanted included, how would you go about that?
Madam Manager.
Sure.
As far as the amphitheater, the last design the city council approved did not include the amphitheater, so it would not be going forward. limits are concerned, we do tout that as our service area. Our police and fire respond to and assist 32,000 people. So sometimes people get confused with the city limits and the greater Palmer area and conflate the two. So perhaps in the application, they were trying to show the impact that the actual Palmer has on not just the city limits, but the greater Palmer area.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I kind of answered this question. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. You know, where it says, kind of in the preamble area, where it says that the grantee accepts the term conditions described in this grant agreement and agrees to comply with the foundation's policies and guidelines revised from time to time. So that isn't necessarily guidelines or policies for the Mass Health Foundation. Those are just grant related policies and guidelines. I just want to make sure I understand that perfectly clear.
Yes, those are our grant making guidelines. Basically, when it talks about ineligible organizations and activities, we don't fund individuals, for-profit entities, organizations with a purpose of supporting candidates for political office, organizations that discriminate against persons, organizations or projects that directly support the operations of Matsu Medical Regional Center, trial or competitive programs that have to cut to exclude participation and reimbursement for completed items already purposed except for a disaster response. And so those are our grant guidelines. And then you have to qualify what we do fund as well. So that's where that is referencing.
Thank you.
Any other questions from Councilmember Hudson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, I guess, is there a portion of that that could be stricken out, or that was going to be stricken out with that language that was used for the grant agreement and policies? Are we keeping that the same? That's a great question. What Councilman Alcantara had just mentioned, I guess.
I would. I mean, obviously, you have a current grant agreement that's before council today. The grant agreement guidelines could be changed, but that would be required for a written request from the city of Palmer to the Mental Health Foundation, and that has to be approved. So obviously, we can't change certain things that are within those grant guidelines of who we fund and who's eligible activities of who we fund. But I think that asking for clarification of what that means is perfectly fine. Our program officer said that if a acceptable change, just instead of saying policy and procedures, just saying Mental Health Foundation's grant guidelines is an acceptable change that our program officer has stated. And so, but we still need a formal request from the city of Palmer.
Madam Attorney.
Just wanted to clarify, so we're all, so I think the statement that caused my understanding some of the clarification questions at the last meeting was the sentence, by signing below, the grantee accepts the term and conditions described in this grant agreement, which has 7 terms, and agrees to comply with the foundation's policies and guidelines as revised from time to time. And Mr. Wilson, is what you're saying then is that we can scratch the foundation's policies and guidelines and use that as grant guidelines instead?
Not policies, but just guidelines, because obviously.
So it would say the foundation's grant guidelines, which is completely separate from the internal foundation policy.
Yes, we want to make sure that's very clear that we do not assign our grantees to follow our internal policies and procedures of the Health Foundation, but our grant guidelines is a contractual arrangement.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So could we, on voting on this tonight, this I guess is a question maybe for our deputy clerk or our city manager, would we be able to accept this with an amendment to present to the Massive Foundation, or would we have to come back at a later date for that?
I'm trying to drag you in. I guess I would wonder, could we pass it with added direction that the manager will work with the foundation to accommodate a more appropriate timeline and verbiage of the grant guidelines. Does that make sense, that we could add that direction to the motion?
I'm happy to make that happen.
Okay.
So we already have a motion on the table, so
Right.
we would need to make a motion to amend with that information.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you. This is just a comment. As everybody knows, I am on the Palmer Community Foundation board, and Mental Health Foundation does give us money every year for since we've been in existence for the last 6 years. And as Mr. Wilson has said, you know, they do not stick their nose into the business. They just make sure that we grant the money the way we're supposed to grant the money and who we grant the money to, and that we're non-discriminatory. And I just want to say that the process and the procedures that they have are impeccable, and I'm totally in favor of this, accepting this money.
Okay, so we're looking, so we want to have an amendment here to the motion. Councilmember Hudson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion to amend resolution 25-025 that upon acceptance or approval of this resolution, the city manager would go to the Massive Health Foundation and amend the date to add another year from 2026 to 2027, and that the city manager also requests to amend for the grant to say, the grant agreement to say grant guidelines instead of policies and whatever. I'm sorry. Policies. Let me get that.
Yeah. So it would,
Madam Attorney?
so it would say with, that agrees to comply with the foundation's grant guidelines as revised from time to time.
That's it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Is there any discussion from the council? Oh, yes. Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Your Mayor, if I didn't say, I just want to say thank you for doing this for the on behalf of it really helps take the burden off the taxpayer. Thank you.
Yes.
The amendment has passed.
Okay. Is there any more discussion from the council on the amended motion? All right. Madam Clerk, can you go ahead and call the roll for the amended motion?
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Unanimous?
Okay, that passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Next, we move into public hearings. Ordinance number 25-002, an ordinance of the Palmer City Council amending Palmer's Municipal Code 4.15.060 residency. And there's 4 choices in this. We're going to wait until after public hearing before, when we go to motion and onto the floor, we'll choose a choice and have discussion, etc. So we will open public hearing for ordinance number 25-002. Anyone wishing to speak to this ordinance?
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jackie Gilmore. Unfortunately, the more I come here, the more I have to review my 23 years in coastal management and remember what it was like. And at first I thought that there shouldn't be any barriers because I was your manager in Anchorage at 4 different stations at different times, and I lived out here. But I do want to tell you, we really need to make it something like the 8-mile barrier. And the reason why is, one night I had a new clerk, and all of these stations have to be set with the alarm. And I was required to report at 5:30 in the morning every morning, and I would usually work until 5 at night before I drove home. And at 9 o'clock, I got a call from the Postal Inspection Service to tell me that the alarm hadn't been set by my new clerk. And I was required to set it. So I remember that very vividly. And so I would highly suggest that you don't put it completely without restrictions, because it also could harm the person putting in for that if they're required to do something they're required to do. It is another 2 hours that I lost out of my day. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to ordinance number 25-002?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Hudgens, and I live here in Palmer. I just don't think that there should be an unlimited restriction, because we're talking about emergency services. We're talking about fire, police. You know, they've got to be within an acceptable area limitation. I mean, if they live in Anchorage, how quick does it take them to respond to that? 8 miles? No big deal. I mean, I can see not keeping it to city limits. Our city limits are very restrictive. But look at the barriers a little around outside the area. Even 10 miles isn't bad. But when we're looking at no restrictions at all, just think about it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to ordinance number 25-002? Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
speak to it. I don't know what it's about, but I'll speak, because I didn't get to talk to my other area.
You're supposed to be testifying about this
But
specific
I am.
ordinance.
I
Okay.
am going to talk about it. And
Please start with
maybe
your name.
with my information, I'll help clarify what you're doing. And my name is Carol Ryan Obie, and I, 3 years ago, June 29th, I fell. I fell in my own home, and the bottom part of my leg went out at an angle when I fell, and it was very painful, and it severed the artery in back of my knee, and I was bleeding inside. And I called, my husband was alive at the time, he called 911. And it took, and then he called again because they didn't come. And it was 20 minutes, and we called again. And then it was like 40 minutes, and we called again. And I live right outside of Palmer, like right. The front of my house is Palmer, right on the road. And it took ambulance. It took 48 minutes to arrive. And it was very painful. My husband died within 24 hours from the effect it had on him. And the Palmer station is across the field. It could have got there in like three minutes, but there were 0 available, and it was just terrible. So if there is an emergency happening anywhere, and there's nobody to go and get it because they're all busy, then that is really important. Am I talking on the right thing here? Okay, that's what I understand. So please keep that in mind. You have to wait 46 minutes, and I live right in Denver Fairgrounds. And that was very painful, very obviously hard on my husband, and my life would have probably changed if they could have gotten there sooner. So I'm all for, is that what we're voting on? We're all for that. Yes, if we're needed, we should help. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, I just want to talk.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this order?
Zipsky with the Palmer Police Department. I know you guys are going to talk about ranges and response times, and I'm very sorry that happened. I used to be on the ambulance, and so I know what it would be like. But we're talking about the directors for these positions. Having somebody being able to live where they live within an unlimited amount, yes, that's probably too far for the directors. And it's not just the police and fire, but it's all the directors for the city. 10 miles is a nice even number to be able to draw on a map where they need to be. Our directors don't need to have emergency response. The fire chief is going to go direct to scene. He's got this truck with lights and sirens, and it gets him there, and he's going to be fast. Or she. The current one. So what I'm saying is, though, at the police department, we have people there all the time ready for that emergency response. The chief is going to be able to respond if need be. If he's having to come in an emergency response, then it's a very, very bad thing, and we're all in trouble anyways. But what I'm trying to say is that it's for the directors being able to have that ability to live where they already are, and not forcing them to move closer just to try and take a leadership position is a little harder on them. Like myself, I live outside of that, and so growing up through the department, it would be a real pain for me to have to move into the town to try and promote up. And I've become, quite honestly, house poor just to do that. Luckily, somebody else got the chief's position. I got some time. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to this ordinance?
My name is Jessie Garner. My husband is the acting chief currently. And I just wanted to speak to the family side of that. We bought a house recently that's within the 5-mile range, but if it was to be set to the water sewer boundary or within the city limits, that would be really restrictive for us, and we couldn't do it not only because of price ranges. I know Mr. Alcantara, Councilman Alcantara had spoke to salaries for department heads. And the salary that you had mentioned is within the top 3 steps for those that fire chief range, which I know that I don't think the city of Palmer is going to pay that rate for the new fire chief. I mean, if they wanted to and John got the job, I would love it. But I'm fairly certain that is not going to be the wage that the new fire chief gets. And if they did, we might be able to afford a house that would fit us within that area. But I wouldn't be able to have the pets that I have. We have 2 Great Danes, a bloodhound, and I have a house pig. And the city does not allow for pet pigs in the city limits. And there's no way that I'm going to get rid of my pets to live within that range, and John's not going to ask me to. And I think that that's pretty restrictive for people and families too. And I don't think I'm the only one with weird pets. So, and people with chickens and people with ducks and all these other things, you can have a couple or 3 or 6 in the city, but there's a lot of people that have, a few more than that. And I think that that's also something that should be considered. So, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this ordinance? Okay, seeing no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing. All right, what's the wishes of the council for ordinance number 25-002? And I guess if we're moving to adopt, we probably have to have a choice in there to make it a motion. All right, Councilmember Alcantara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion, are we making a motion to which one of these boundaries that we're going to accept?
And then we can discuss and we can modify it.
Before we make that motion, I didn't quite understand it. They are the last respondent, were they saying their fire chief potential husband's outside the 8 miles or no? That kind of doesn't bear out what I would say.
If the council chose the water sewer boundary, he would not qualify for the position.
I would make a motion to accept the 8-mile boundaries. And I do want, if I could, Mr. Mayor,
Let's get a second.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Second? Okay. All right. You want to speak to it?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you for that. What I was addressing before, and I think I'm right, I'll be corrected by the city manager if I'm not, is that the department director, fire chief, and police chief, and now I know the city clerk are all, the beginning pay is right around $100,000 a year. It's a 6-figure salary because the starting pay, if I remember right, is $46 to $48 an hour. It's pretty easy math when you times that by 2,080 hours, you get to right at $100,000 if they were at step 1. Some of our department directors that are way farther down the step ranges are more in the 120, 130, or even maybe 140 range of a department director. So I want to make it clear that I was a big advocate of people should live in Palmer and live within 5 miles of Palmer, and I still have a hard time adjusting that because I think back, and I know we're in 2025 now, I think back to when I was emergency management director of the United Municipal Borough. You had to call at 0023, you're in the office at 0029, talking to the Coast Guard, making plans, making sure you got firefighter apparatus going to Homer so they can go to Fort Graham. There's decisions to be made in a quick hurry, and I know one decision is waiting for people to come in from an unlimited amount away or even further away. So speaking for myself, and I hope for others, I think let's err on the side of caution. Let's expand our boundaries out a little. Let's not do the utility area because we lose the people that might want to live on Lazy Mountain, out towards the Butte, etc. But my opinion is option 2, 8 miles, should be our first step in this endeavor.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It would be something that I would bring forward would be like the 10-mile from city boundary. I think it's really important to make sure that we can include out into the Butte area and closer to that area. I also want to say that if I just am looking right now at the City of Palmer pay plan that passed January 1st of this year, and the starting, number 1 is at $91,000. So, and it takes multiple steps to go up to get to a 6-figure amount. So it is really close, but that is $10,000 a year away from, a 6-figure amount. So I also want to say that as a council member looking at homes for sale that are in the current boundary, it is extremely difficult. I'll speak from personal experience. There's maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 4, but they are smaller homes typically and things like that. I also do think it's important for the city to consider that these people who are living 10 miles, who are willing to come in to the city to work for the city of Palmer, obviously, I would assume would be invested in the city. They're close enough that they do need to go somewhere. The fire chief, acting fire chief's wife just mentioned that he responds directly on the scene. So even if he was 8 miles from City Hall,
We did plan that.
he's able to respond quickly from anywhere. So my argument would be the 10 mile. I do understand that
The other thing I wanted to bring up is that I do believe that we have multiple people sitting on this dais that work for other places outside of Palmer. They still come back here after spending the majority of the day that they're awake working in places like Anchorage, and then coming back and serving their constituents here and still caring about where they live. And I believe when people travel to other cities to work, they care about the places that they're working in as well. So I would just say that I don't think limiting who could apply for a position based on where they live, if they're within 10 miles, to say that they would, to kind of put out the presumption that they wouldn't care about Palmer, or they wouldn't care about their job, or be able to come here, or have people ready to respond to emergency calls. I just think that those arguments are extremely far-fetched. And looking at the market and looking at the facts that are in the data that's in front of me, I would say that we should go to a 10 mile. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you. We've been discussing this issue for the last literally 20-something years. And the concern way back when was before cell phones and all that we wanted the directors and the city managers to live close within the city so that they could respond. Well, now that we have directors and they all have basically deputies, I really don't see any reason why the directors and or the city manager should have any restriction on where they live. My only concern is the fire department. We have a lot of people who are volunteer fire departments, and our chief, if he lived on Wasilla, would be a little bit concerning to me. But, and I'm sorry, Miss Obie, that the ambulance didn't get there. Unfortunately, they work for the borough and not for the city. But I think that with today's communication, if you start looking at community development director, public works director, those folks in reality do not have to live very close to town, because if we have that kind of an emergency, we're all really in trouble. So my suggestion is that for the directors and for the manager, that we actually eliminate that and go to option 4. Like I say, with the advent of cell phones and computers, they are in constant contact with the folks already, and it doesn't take very long to get from Wasilla or either Lazy Mountain or up at Hatcher Pass to get into the city. Thank you.
Madam Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I was going through the notes, and one of the questions that had been brought up before, I just wanted to clarify that there are no other similar cities that have a requirement for the directors. Wasilla does not, Anchorage does not. I believe that was asked that. I just wanted to share that.
Okay. Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I then would also like to support what Councilman Cooper has brought to just strike the requirement entirely. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I guess one of the questions would be kind of a hiring practice question, because I know for my company I don't have a residence requirement. I don't say, hey, you live so close to the office and I aren't able to see my our expectation that you can be within the office within 30 minutes or something like that. I was just wondering if that's a possibility if we were to get rid of the residency requirement. I can't say that word for some reason. That we would still have an option for people that would have a job that needs to be there. Because obviously, certain positions are different than others. I just want to make sure we're not hamstring ourselves.
Madam Manager?
We can certainly look at those options and tailor it to the positions, but I do want to reiterate that our departments train very well. So if the police chief or the fire chief, the community development director is out, there is someone available to make the command decisions. We have cell phones, we have the internet. If that deputy is not sure of a decision, you are seconds away from getting reassurance from even myself, the city manager, or the police chief, or the fire chief. there's a reason why we train everyone so well, is so that they can step up. And if we have a residency requirement, whether it's 8 miles or 10 miles, eventually we'll be revisiting this because we will be limiting our talent pool again. I really truly believe that the department directors and managers, they'll prove themselves if they can do the job. There's a probationary period. We can take administrative action if we need to, if they aren't responding timely. If call volumes are not being answered the way that we want them to be. If decisions aren't being made, that's why we have an HR department, and that's why we hire professionals to do the job, not contract with where they live.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the comments of the past previous speakers.
I died.
Hey, I'll turn on my friends over here. I appreciate the comments of the previous speakers, but I do disagree with them. I was born in 1964, a little bit after the Great Alaska earthquake. But I can tell you that when you live through any kind of natural disaster, cell phone tower cells break down, things that you think are going to be instant communication break down, takes days sometimes to bring in cellular on wheels and other things. I don't want to go down a road where the top 6 or 7 paid employees in the city of Palmer are shopping on their way home in Eagle River Fred Meyer or Eagle River cars and not contributing to the city of Palmer. I think a 10-mile radius, let that run its course. And then eventually, over the years, you convince me that, hey, there's not going to be, or, if all that happens, we're all going to be, dead anyway or something. Now that, my father worked for Governor Egan during the 64, he probably killed him with cancer in 66 and the stress. The fact of the matter is, everything's changed since then, but not really a lot has changed. Bridges still collapse, cell systems still go down. But this is a small pool of people. We're not saying that every single employee in the city of Palmer has to live within 10 miles. We're saying our top 6 people, paid, thank you, Councilmember Hudson for correcting me, but these top 6 people that are paid $90,000+ a year, I want them to be Palmer residents or at least as close to Palmer. I want them to have skin in the game. I don't want them living in Eagle River. I don't want them living in Shuyak. I don't want them living in Anchorage. You might say it's territorial, but the fact is, a 10-mile radius can get us people even into Wasilla, the Butte, some places, and if they want to be part of this community, they can come out here and find a place to live. I mean, I've gone door to door, lots of them. I saw 7 houses today for sale. Not everybody wants to live in a tiny minuscule lot, I get that. But there are places, and there's a constant churn in the valley because a lot of military live here, and so they leave after 3-6 years. There's reasons to keep your top people in your incident command team. I don't expect my incident commander to be the city water clerk. I expect my incident commander is going to be a city manager or a public works director or a fire chief. And I don't want them to be like, can't make it because bridges collapsed in Eagle River and I can't get there. So I'm willing to go. No boundaries whatsoever for our highest paid 7 or 6 to 8 employees. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I think people should be here in our community.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My comment and I guess question for our city attorney and our city manager is if the sister cities surrounding us have stricken this entirely or do not have this, that they follow the boundaries, so they have no restrictions to where their directors can live. When there was a large earthquake or any natural disasters that have taken place in the last 2 decades, has there been any reports or legal reports that their city safety administration was not able to help the community well because they weren't able to get there in time?
Madam Manager?
I am not aware of any reports that would be publicly documented displaying possibly the 2018 earthquake also running, which was not able to respond adequately to any natural disaster. And we can go around about the ifs and the buts and what if the bridge collapses, well, then we can go around the whole time. We can fly in, and honestly, if there's a huge crisis, we're all getting called in. It doesn't matter where we live, we'll all be here, including the council, regardless of where you live to.
Councilmember.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you for my second bite of the apple. I don't think, just a quick comment, I don't think the money salary, that's not the issue. You know, whether they make $10 or $100,000, that's immaterial. You know, yes, they are our top leaders, but what I don't want to do is when we go through annexation, I don't want to have to go through and move the boundary every time we do an annexation, whether it's 5 miles, 8 miles, or 10 miles. I think for these top people, as the city manager mentioned, you know, they're going to get here, everybody's going to be called in. I am still in favor of removing that section in its entirety and allow our directors and the city managers to live wherever they so desire. My comment also is that those folks who are getting those jobs are going to live as close as they can to the city because they want to live here, they want the job here. They're not going to live in Anchorage, they're not going to live in Eagle River, you know, they're not going to live in Talkeetna. They're going to live as close as they can. So thank you for allowing me to comment.
Okay, so right now the motion is for 8 miles. Do you have any amendments in the council? Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to amend the motion to remove the requirement entirely.
I second that.
Okay, so that's to go to option 4, since you can even make sure to relay that to the EOC, etc. Okay, any other comments? Are we ready to vote on the amendment? Yes. Okay, Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll for amending to remove the requirement entirely.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
No.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Amendment passes.
Okay. So now it's been amended. Is there any more discussion, or I don't see any? So we'll, Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll for the amended motion.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
No.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
It's approved.
Okay. Next we have resolution number 25-030, a resolution of the Palmer City Council submitting the question of amending charter sections 5.4, the city manager residency requirement of the city manager to the city's qualified voters at the October 7th, 2025 City of Palmer election. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to comment to that? And there's 2 options on this, and when we bring it to the floor, we will get specific at that point. Anyone wishing to speak to the resolution number 25-030? Okay. Seeing no one come forward, we'll bring it back. That's the wishes of the council. Councilmember Irby.
Is there a motion?
No.
I move to adopt.
Okay. Which option? Was 1 or 2?
What are they?
Yeah.
Okay. They are,
Page 21.
option 1 is reside within 5 miles of the city limits, or option 2 changes the verbiage to say reside in Palmer.
Can we amend that to get rid of that restriction?
Yes.
Yes, but probably pick an option so we can discuss and
Okay,
then
I'll go with option 1.
Okay, option 1, 5 miles. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam Attorney, do you want to help us a little bit with understanding these two options?
Yes. So, and I apologize for any confusion. I met with the manager and the clerk, and we went and listened to the different pieces, and the reference to the city manager's position that had been discussed were those two options. So one within 5 miles, and then the verbiage shall reside in Palmer. That would be defined by the Palmer zip code, according to the U.S. Postal Service. So it's not Palmer city limits. So there is some definitional challenges between the code right now and the charter in terms of city, what city is defined as. I'll look those up specifically, but when the option 2 states shall reside in Palmer, that is going to be referring to the Palmer zip code, like just Palmer, Alaska. And that's sort of what the charter refers to. It's implied that meant city limits, but it just says Palmer. So it's a little confusing, the building charter.
And just a reminder that it's a resolution and it would be put on the ballot for our regular election on October 7th for the voters to decide.
Yes, on October 7th for the voters to decide with the various voters. And then, depending on the results of the voters, should this pass, then we would amend the code to reflect what is in the charter so they match.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to say, thanks for clarifying that. You know, because I was trying to think, because I always thought that the charter trumped code. So that's why I was a little confused by it. So we can clarify that. So essentially, if we go with option 2, that stipulates that the city manager will reside in the 99645 zip code. Whereas on option 1, that's 5 miles within the city boundaries, the city limits.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Hudson?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that in reading the charter, it is confusing because it does say the city of Palmer, so that could be taken in different meanings. Meaning a 99645 zip code already, or meaning within those 5.4 square mile boundary that we do have. So I would be in favor of option 2, that the city manager needs to reside in Palmer, 99645 zip code. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Cooper.
I have a question of the attorney. I know that 99645 is like Lazy Mountain in the Butte. Do you have a picture of how far does it go towards the west? How far is 99645? And the only reason that people use that is that's where they get their mail. So,
Madam Attorney?
I'm looking at Benji for a call a friend. We had looked at different maps, and there is one online. I think we have printed out. We could possibly email it to Councilmember Cooper.
So I did, when we were having this conversation, I certainly went through and I just went to the USPS website and put in 99645, and it pulled me up a map. I don't know if you can see it, Councilmember Cooper. It's not the greatest map on the planet. Let's see if we can get it on the screen.
Oh, there we go.
Slow, but there it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
So do you want me to try to email it to you, Councilmember Cooper?
yeah, it's just kind of bright. I guess I'm just looking to see, if we restrict if we restrict it to 99645, I mean, does that mean it only goes to Trunk Road? Does it go out to Port Wasilla? Does it go up Hatcher Pass? I don't know where that boundary is. Maybe you can give me a quick kind of overview.
I'm gonna zoom some more. Maybe.
One second.
So this here says Palmer, so I'm gonna assume that this is the core Palmer area. And then going.
Could someone stand up and point this?
Do I have a laser pointer?
Here's Truck Road, and that's Palmer official.
Yeah, so it goes way up towards Hatcher's Pass.
All right, so it only goes as far west as Trunk then?
Hatcher's Pass is up this way.
Yeah, but Trunk Road as far as
Yeah.
on the Wasilla side.
All right, so almost like sewer water boundary.
Actually, yeah, it goes down to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously it goes across the river.
Right, and then we marry in the Butte and everything. Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, I have a follow-up on that.
Yes, continue.
So my concern is, we've just now opened virtually the door to the directors. My concern is that we are going to potentially hamstring the city manager, and using the same, criteria, like they can't find a house, and that doesn't mean that there's no houses available. But it still bothers me that, even in today's society that we have a restriction actually on where the city manager lives. I know the reason that it was passed way back in 1951 was that the town was small and they wanted the city manager to be able to walk around, drive around, look at the problems within the city and report that back to the council before it actually came from the community itself. And that's really a kind of a function of each and every council member as well to go around the city. And my guess is that the city manager is not going to, I would hate to hamstring the city manager to Trunk Road. I would just as soon open it up to unlimited, just like we did on the last one. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Irby.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes, sir. I guess I'll be the contrarian. I mean, I still think, the 5 mile boundary seems like a good happy medium. I know it's not quite as big as the 99645 boundary. But this has to be approved by the voters, and I see it having a better chance if we do a 5 mile boundary. It just seems cleaner to me. My concern with the 99645 boundary is just if that were to ever change, that could maybe cause an issue later on. It just seems like 5 miles outside whatever the city boundary is. Also takes into consideration, future annexation.
I think that, like I had mentioned before, shall reside in Palmer. I hear everybody mentioning the 5 miles. What I've heard in talking to the constituents, and I've talked to a lot of constituents about this over the last month, is that they just want a city manager that represents the city of Palmer and that resides in the city of Palmer. 99645, somebody that lives close to the heart of downtown, which would be 99645, and that is here for their constituents and that cares. And so I think that the happy medium is shall reside in Palmer, especially considering the fact that our charter already basically reflects that. I think it's how it's taken, how it's interpreted by the council and the city attorney, where the charter already says within the city of Palmer. So.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, we go along with Councilmember Tudor and say that 5 miles from city limits is a lot cleaner. We don't have to worry about zip codes changing. I think the city manager should live close by. They actually live in the city limits, but I know I lost that fight a long time ago. The fact is that, yeah, you're going to be more entrenched in your community, if you're there all the time. If you can respond at 10 a.m. on Saturday, if you can go to events and do things. I know I'm very happy with our current city manager, and I hope she finds a place close by. I think 5 miles of city limits is definitely enough. Hey, what's next? Are we going to say city council members don't have to live in the city? Is that our next move?
Yeah.
Are we going to say, no one has to live in the city? We can all live in 99645. I can tell you from people, oh, yeah, I'll sign your form. By the way, the person that turned in 30 sponsors already today to run for mayor. I'll sign your form. Well, where do you live? I live out at Three Bears at Four Corners. Sorry, you don't live in the city. I live in Equestrian Acres. You don't live in the city. I mean, what's our next step? Are we going to, hey, city council members, you can live anywhere in 99645 and be on Palmer City Council. You live at Lazy Mountain, Butte, Pinnacle River Road, wherever 99645 goes, it goes off Bogart, well past Trunk Road on Bogart. It just seems much cleaner to do the 5 miles, which I think is the motion that's on the floor right now from Councilmember Irby. I think we're kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater by just saying there's no restrictions on anything anymore. People, you can live in Talkeetna, live in Anchorage, live in Chistachina if you want to. As long as you can drive here and get here, we're going to allow you to live wherever you want. It just doesn't seem right, and I think there's enough people in the city of Palmer that will shoot that down when we try to expand those boundaries out beyond. I think the 5 miles is a great start that could pass the voters. I think anywhere in 99645, I think we're just going to destine for failure. Thank you.
Madam Attorney? Oh, okay. Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion to amend that we to put this on the ballot as strike entirely. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. Basically just to remove requirement
Yep, please.
from the chair. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Sorry.
Okay.
Put it on the record for you.
Yeah,
So,
you got
yes.
the first and second. Madam Manager.
Sure. While this pertains to me, obviously it's the council's direction and decision on what they will do. I would like to add that I send my crews out every single day well beyond 5 miles of the city limits. I am responsible for their response times, I'm responsible for their training, and I'm responsible for my own actions. If I fail as a city manager because I live 5.5 miles from here or 6 miles, I won't have a job the next day. But it is important to remember that our fire and EMS and our police and public safety does extend beyond those 5 miles.
All right, so there's a motion to amend to just remove the requirement, to put on the ballot, removing the requirement from the chair. Say that correctly?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll for the amendment to remove the entire.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
No.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
No.
You've got a 4, it passes.
Okay, 42. Okay, so now it's been modified to remove from the charter, to put before the voters to remove from the charter.
That was just the amendment, so now we have to go back and vote on the motion. Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please. We need to restate it, or everyone follows. So this is a motion, an amended motion to put on the ballot before the voters to remove the residency requirement of city manager from the charter.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
No.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
No.
That's the 4, it passes.
Okay. All right. So next is resolution number 25-031, a resolution of Palmer City Council authorizing the city manager to appropriate funds for the purchase of the Vesta 911 phone system and accept reimbursement from the Natsuburo E911 funds in an amount not to exceed $448,174. We will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution, please come forward. Okay. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Question? All right. Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
And Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
It's approved.
Okay. Next is resolution number 25-032, a resolution of the Palmer City Council supporting the development of a memorial clock tower honoring veterans and first responders. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution can come forward. Yeah, get very close.
Gotta get close, real close. It's awkward. My name's Amanda. I am a resident of the city of Palmer. I just wanted to speak real quickly to the Memorial Clock Tower. I think it has the potential to bring some added interest to downtown. I know that one of the other things that's on the agenda for tonight is the marketing revival of downtown, which I think is great. I think this could easily tie into that. Additionally, I would like to encourage council, or not make the city manager, to consider as part of the design plan for this, to incorporate some of the train tracks that were removed from downtown, kind of use them as maybe a focal point of that, keeping the historical part of Palmer. I think that would be a really nice gesture if we can make that work out financially and aesthetically. Yeah.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this resolution? Okay, so no one will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a long time coming. We discussed this probably 20 years ago, but it's more appropriate now that we're having a brand new library built, and then we'll be able to get this memorial clock tower, front and center as you come across to Evergreen. People can see that. I think it's a great deal. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no one else, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll for this resolution.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Irby.
Yes.
And Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Pass.
Okay.
Point of order, Your Honor.
No.
Take a 5-minute break.
Sure, let's take a 5-minute break. Yeah, it is.
I was thinking about that.
All right. So, next we have public hearing for resolution number 25-033. Where did El Cantor go? A resolution of the Palmer City Council supporting community engagement to reimagine the downtown railroad corridor as a vital asset to the heart of Palmer. There it is. All right, so we will open the public hearing on resolution 25-033. Does anyone wish to come to speak to this resolution? It's a race.
It is. But we arm wrestle.
This is about reimagining the downtown railroad corridor resolution.
So,
Please start with your name. And you have 3 minutes. Yeah, pull it close.
all right, my name is Paula Pettyjohn. I live here in Palmer. And so, I was reading your agenda and it talked about reimagining the city center there. And so then I looked everywhere for where all this reimagining was. And there doesn't seem to be any documentation. Is there a plan? You guys don't answer. So anyway, I'm concerned about whenever anybody says reimagine, then my little red flags go up. And I was just wondering where I could find this. And having a problem with transparency and trying to find documents like specifics about the library, specifics about this reimagining the city center, and specifics about tearing things down and putting other things up, but who can only imagine? And so I was hoping that what would come out of this meeting is more documents online that the public would have access to, so that we actually will know what is going on in these meetings. Because, you're just by, like tonight, voting for the expansion of where your leadership is going to live, then you're kind of watering down the whole Palmer experience. Is the reimagining the downtown area gonna water that down? Is it, I just don't even know what you're gonna do. But anybody who's been to a Potato Bowl football game knows there's a difference between Palmer and Wasilla. And so, we need to acknowledge that as community members, that there is a difference. And do you want to stay Palmer, or do you just want to be watered down and become Wasilla or Anchorage? But that's your responsibility to decide, but you need to help us support you by having documents and information online so that we know what's going on. So that's it. Thanks.
Hello again, I'm Jackie Goforth, and I'm totally in support of the fact that you actually put down that the downtown railroad corridor is a vital asset to the heart of Palmer. We had a vote November 26th. Thank you. That was fast. I said it for 2:30 or whatever. We had a vote on November 26th last year. After how many years of trying to remove tracks? How many years? And we actually the city allowed the intersection of, whatever it's called, and Colony Way, only those tracks get removed. And we were reassured there won't be any other tracks removed ever. And that was just a lie. That was a lie. That was a lie. So if you're going to reimagine the corridor being a vital asset of Palmer, will that be a lie? I'm serious here. You just tossed the heart of Palmer out with this non-restriction thing. The person who's going to be responsible for Palmer doesn't need to live in Wasilla. They can live in Ketchikan. I mean, if you're a private pilot, I suppose you can live anywhere. That is the strangest thing I've ever seen. It's like we're throwing out everything tonight. We are not a democracy. Everyone please. A democracy, to quote Ben Franklin, is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what's for lunch. We are not a democracy. We never have been. We are a constitutional republic. We are represented by people we have voted in to serve in the interest of the people. Palmer belongs to the people. The history belongs to the people. The ambiance, romance, history, wonder of being in Palmer belongs to the people. And it's getting usurped or stolen behind the backs, and nobody even knows what's going on. The reason there's no plans is because there is no plans, or because we don't know where they are or they're hidden so far. Just like the hidden thing behind the Massachusetts Health Foundation. We still haven't seen what the proposal was. I'm pretty sure I'm close. I'm pretty sure I'm close. Because it matches exactly what they tried in 2022. If you want to make it, like she said, the speaker before me, if you want to make it a mini Anchorage, well, you are going to get up for election, right, in October? And I think I'll have a lot to say to people on the street, because I believe there's 700 voters that don't come down here and talk to you, but they will show up if they're interested enough. And if they know that you promise to take care of the history and not touch any other railroad tracks, and then you just willy-nilly take them out, like for parking or something, because a business needs it. I mean, are they going to lease it? What else are you going to do for the rest of the businesses? If you don't care about Palmer, why are you up there? And I am totally for making people on the council, city council, be in the 99645 zone. I'm totally good with that, because I would definitely put in for that. And there's a lot of other people who actually would protect the vital asset of the heart of Palmer. They actually would. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Ryan Obie, and I'm not going to make you afraid, okay? I'm going to talk. My grandson had theater camp in Wasilla for a few weeks, and I was stuck over there because he was only there for 3 hours. I was going to drive back and forth, and I hate Wasilla. Okay, I used to live way over there. I love Palmer. But I found something good there. They got the coolest park. And I don't know if you've ever gone to the park, but it's called I did a park, and they have a big playground area, and they got tennis courts and basketball courts and skate courts, which we've got, and they got all this stuff. And they have a path that goes all the way around. And I'm supposed to get out and walk a lot. And it's exactly a mile. And it was so much fun. There are all these old people walking on it. They had people coming and cleaning up. I didn't see any people, who shouldn't belong there. Everybody was, it was safe. Whole bunch of old people, I felt right at home. And I think if we did do something, I think it'd be great. We've got flower pots already going on down in that space. You've got a whole area along those tracks. I don't care if they take the tracks out or not. I don't really care. But we could do something besides growing grass. But I don't want you to think about it now. We need a library. And when I got excited and I went home and I told my kids about it and how great it was, and wouldn't it be cool if we had a nice long walking path right in Palmer, and they said, Mom, the library first. And that's what we need first. And I think we should do something like that. Eventually, not become Wasilla. Who wants to be Wasilla? Oh my God, but our own. And we've got things all over the city and playgrounds all over. We have a lot, but our walking situation isn't very good. If anybody walks around on the sidewalks, and it's really not good when it snows. But anyways, think of the library, okay?
Hi, my name is Cindy Hedges. Reimagine. What the heck does that mean anyway? I mean, if nobody says anything tonight and you guys vote to like reimagine, then the sky's the limit because we don't even know what it means. This meeting tonight has just been crazy. I mean, we don't care where our managers, directors, and our emergency services are. Good grief. I don't know. What? I feel like what you guys are doing is, reimagine Palmer. Just wipe it out. I mean, these are all your first steps to, heck yeah, let's go ahead and combine everything now with Wasilla, Palmer, and Anchorage. Why have any differences? Reimagine. Can you at least give us some examples before you vote this in? Before you turn us into a paved parking lot? Say, okay, we need more parking in Palmer, I agree with you. But what are you gonna do, rip everything out and make it all parking? Boy, disgusting. We might as well be California. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to resolution 25-033? Okay, seeing no one come forward, close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to clarify a few things for my constituents so that they understand why I will be voting to approve this. We have a new community development director who's done an amazing job so far, by the way, trying to manage what he has, or try to figure out what he's walked into for doing everything correctly. And this specifically is just so that he can start a public awareness and community engagement strategy. So this is just meaning that, I actually want to read a part of this just for my constituents. Relating to determining how the downtown railroad corridor can contribute to the vitality of downtown Palmer. They will facilitate community input. They will be gathering input from the community and gathering feedback using innovative methods to produce a final report summarizing the needs and desires of the Palmer community. So at that time, this firm will work with our community development director to gather all this information for what the constituents want, and then they will give that to our community development director and our city manager, and then they would come back before us and show us what they're recommending based on the input, just like they did previously with the tracks and things like that. So this is to give our community development director more information from the community regarding this topic. Am I correct, City Manager?
Yes, in fact, there will be an RFP going out the first week of August. We do in August to like 29th, very possibly. Sorry about that. So an RFP will be issued the August 1st, 2025. That's the initial deadline. Proposal deadline is August 29th, so this isn't a done deal. We still have time to craft this. This is just for an RFP for services. We aren't reimagining and putting anything in concrete motion right now. And in fact, if we decide that we don't like whatever they come up with, we don't have to adopt it.
If I understand right, the RFP kind of outlines the process that we'll go through to get input from the community.
That's correct. It's a community engagement RFP.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
I think, Mr. I was just wondering if there's a report from community development with that report about this.
Not currently, no. But they would still outline that this is just a community engagement RFP, that there are no designs being, or no final proposals being voted on tonight. This is going to be a month long. September 23rd should be before the council. September 23rd, 2025.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Cooper. I've got Councilmember Alcantara. Okay, Councilmember
That's fine.
Cooper, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to reiterate what Councilwoman Hudson said, that this is just an RFP to develop a strategy. It says outline a communications plan, organize and facilitate a series of public meetings, open houses, workshops, and town halls, and to get more broad participation from the underrepresented population from all the cities. So it's going to be similar to the library, where we're going to have all kinds of meetings if this RFP goes through, and to get public input on what actually they want to do with this area. Thank you.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just piggybacking on the comments of the last couple of council members, not everybody in the audience gets a 170-page packet printed up for them, or has a cool city-provided iPad and they can go through all this. But so on page 76 of a 170-page packet tonight, a very good memo from our community development director. So this is $20,000 that's budgeted. Development of a strategy that engages all segments of the community feedback, collect input through a series of meetings and innovative engagement tools prior to developing any final concept plans, ongoing transparency, provide and maintain clear, regular reports to keep the public informed and engaged throughout the process, and community-driven project development, ensure that the resulting plans prioritize the needs and wishes of Palmer residents and stakeholders. So this is money's been budgeted in capital to try to do this, and I don't think there's anything nefarious about it. I think it's just a matter of all of you and all of us being engaged and going through the process and making sure that we let our wishes be known, whether we live in 99645 or whether we live somewhere else. If we want to talk about how great Palmer is, we can still engage in these upcoming events. So I want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to clarify that, as I had mentioned before, this is our new community development director, and I think the city manager is putting this forward on the agenda for the community development director, if I'm correct. And I just want to say, as a council member, there comes a point in time when you have new people in positions where you have to trust them to make better decisions than what were made in the past. So just because maybe previous administrations made decisions that weren't fully agreed to, or XYZ, sometimes it's time to reevaluate the new people that have been put in those positions, and allowing the council to have room to trust them to want to seek outside community input and actually aspire to do that, and to actually be able to look at those things and make good decisions regarding what the community is asking for. And like our city manager had mentioned, and I wanted to again repoint that out, is that doesn't mean this is something that the community development director would even have to say he accepts, or that we would then accept. It can come back and we can say, that's not what we felt like the community was saying, or XYZ. So just at some point, we have to start trusting the people that we've put in these positions to start making positive changes for the community. Thank you.
You ready to vote? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please, for resolution number 25.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
It's approved.
And now resolution number 25-034, a resolution of the Palmer City Council authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate grant funds in the amount of $500,000 from the Rasmussen Foundation for the purpose of constructing a new Palmer Public Library. We will open the public hearing for this. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution, please come forward.
Absolutely. Hello again, my name is Jackie Goforth, and I am totally and completely supportive of this. Why? Because it says the grantee agrees that the entire amount of the grant will be used for the project. It doesn't say we have to use the grant award for funding specification as stated here, or per the grantee's submitted pension proposal that was received on January 30th, 2025, which I still haven't seen. That's why the Matsu Foundation, yes, but totally for the Rasmussen. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this resolution? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion, questions from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you. Just as a comment of edification, Rasmussen Foundation has been really great to the city of Palmer. We received $500,000 for the ice rink as well. So it's a great organization, and I'm strongly in favor of this. Thank you.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also second what Councilman Cooper said, and I'm so thankful to the Rasmussen Foundation for bringing this grant to the city of Palmer, and I am excited to vote yes for this for the library project. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to echo that. You know, the thing that's going to kind of keep me up with this library is, paying the bill that's coming due. And it's so great to see National Health Foundation, Rasmussen Foundation, and the others that are coming forward to help with this. This means a lot to our community. Thank you.
We ready to vote then? Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Next, we have action memorandum. Action memorandum number 25-061, approving a council community grant to Palmer Arts Council and Palmer Museum of History and Art. The staff recommended an amount of $3,000 for the arts in the garden. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Is there a discussion or any questions from council? All right. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
All right, next is action memorandum number 25-062, approving a council community grant to Youth Archive, and the staff recommended an amount of $1,500 for operating expenses. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from council? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Unanimous, passed.
Sorry, won't interrupt you this time. Action memorandum number 25-063, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and enter into a contract with the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just curious. I know every year is certainly different, but do we have a chart that shows how many call-outs per season on average for the last 10 years or 5 years or something like that, just to try to wrap arms around the potential cost of this?
For the call-out services, no, I don't have a chart. This would just be based on our ability to respond to any sort of, there's a huge snow load. Last year would be last year, before that we would have more, so that's the snow that we receive.
Follow
up. Continue.
Yeah, thank you, City Manager. I did see where they have the contract now for like 9 years. I'm sure whatever costs that we had to endure has been, acceptable. But I was just curious what the dollars could add up to. I mean, it's impossible for you or any of us sit here on this beautiful 70-degree day and say we're going to get 40 inches of snow versus 140 spread out over how many times. So thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Irby,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
Approved.
Okay. Next is action memorandum number 25-065, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with the Matsu Borough for animal control services not to exceed $2,996.60 per month. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Is there any questions or comments from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes. Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you. In their contract, it says, for the first term, the city shall pay a base charge of $29.96, irrespective of the number of animals placed at the borough shelter. I'm a little concerned about that. We pay them $3,000 a month, they get no animals, or they get 20 animals. Just that we pay them $3,000 a month for them to be on call. That bothers me a little bit.
Madam Manager.
Was there a question?
Okay, the question is what, if they're not taking any animals into their shelter, why do we pay them $3,000 a month? Even though that's in the contract.
Sure, we're paying them for a service, whether they're there to take the animals in. There might be some months that there's 5 that are doing it, and other months there might be 50. It just gives us an ability to plan fiscally for this service that Palmer can't provide for its residents currently.
Follow up?
Yes, continue.
Thank you. So we just passed a resolution or an action memorandum to pay the snow removal service per call out. It seemed to me that we would potentially pay these folks the same thing per call out as opposed to, giving them $36,000 a year.
Madam Manager.
Well, those are 2 separate contracts. So Matsu Borough Animal Control Services does follow precedent from what we've approved. There's nothing new. There's no gotchas in it. It is something, and again, the previous contract, White Night Services, that's how the contract was set up.
If I recall, some of this discussion we've had with like the other cities in the borough is we've been asking about, can we give up animal control? So this is part of a process where we might be looking at
A regional
transfer to them, but this is the start.
Well, I'd like to reiterate that this isn't a new contract. We have had animal control services with the borough in have the capacity to do it for ourselves.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also just wanted to, I was trying to find the facts on their website off of Facebook, not going on Facebook, but I'm not able to see those on just their website. But the animal shelter, I believe they posted that like just last week, it was like 147 animals, and the week before it was at like 160, and then another week before they were at like 240 or so. So don't quote me on those numbers, but it was extreme to the point where often they actually have to close their intake because they have so many animals. So with Palmer being so close to the animal shelter, and with me going in there often, looking and hanging out, and I take my puppy back to see them because he just loved them so much when he was there. But all I'm going to say is that I think that there's absolutely no way that Palmer doesn't contribute to the amount here that's listed for how many animals they help from just the city of Palmer alone. So I just kind of wanted to drop that at Councilman Cooper and just, I do go there often, and from what I see, we do fill this amount with constituents animals, and they do help, so thank you.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the discussion, and thank you, City Manager Zirkle, for kind of putting this toothpaste back in the tube. I see where, this goes back to March 1st, and now this term that we're adopting today is through June of next year to June 26th. And we already, it looks like, we're not agreeing to it yet, but there's about a 5% kicker for the July 1, 26 to June 3, 27, and another 5% roughly from July 1, 27 to June 30, 28. I guess my question is, since we're only approving this to 26, you'll come back to us for next year in the budget process and say, for 26 to 27, we need $37,000 to do this, and for 27 to 28, we need $30,000 change to do this. So that's just a matter of, you kind of inherited this non-payment bill and have to catch up from March 1 this year until June 30th next year. I'm following everything correctly.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. You ready to vote? Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Irby?
Yes.
Pass.
Action memorandum number 25-066, authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a lease agreement with the Matsu Valley Rebuild to provide long-term storage for library books. That's the wishes of the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any questions or comments from council? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Irby?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes.
Approved.
Next is action memorandum number 25-068, authorizing the mayor to execute the city clerk's employment agreement with Benji Johnson. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very happy with our city clerk and look forward to this being completed and finalized. My question to you, Mr. Mayor, is does our city attorney also participate in this? Or this is kind of crossing T's and dotting I's? I think we've already discussed salary, health insurance, and other important aspects. So is this something where the city attorney and yourself talk with the city clerk and, complete?
Madam Attorney?
Yes, sir. So I was not a participant in the executive session. Our clerk sent it to me, CC the others, the terms of the agreement, and then based it, we did not materially alter any of the terms that were not already agreed on, but we did clean up the verbiage a little bit from previous clerks' language of their contracts. So I have reviewed and worked with those.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council? Madam Clerk, you can call the roll, please. Go, right. Councilmember Hudson.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to clarify, this is just basically you and the new city clerk sitting down and signing these contracts together.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify for the constituents. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Erby,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Unanimous, approved.
Congratulations. Action memorandum number 25-069, authorizing city manager to extend the professional services contract with Alaska Communications for 6 months, term ending 12/31/2025. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any questions or comments on it? Councilmember Alcantara.
No real questions. I just know it's a 30-plus page document, and I was waiting for our resident IT expert to chime in as a second. It took him a moment, but he got there, so I think it must be all right if he got a second.
That's exactly right. All right. Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Erby,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
and Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Okay. We've already taken care of unfinished business. There's no new business. Record of items placed on the table. Madam Clerk?
Yes, I have a document from Jackie Goforth.
Okay. All right. Next is audience participation. I guess I'll probably need that list there. And we'll open up audience participation. Please start with your name and okay, thanks. First is David Wilson.
Good evening, City Council. I'm David Wilson from the City of Wasilla. Not all bad things are from the City of Wasilla. But I just represent Matsu Health Foundation in partnership with Matsu Medical Regional Center. As you may have seen recently, that our certificate of need process has been filed to build a freestanding behavioral health hospital here in the Valley. It will be a 45-bed inpatient facility for adolescents and adults. It's about $70 million investment for our community, and we'll approximately have about 50 full-time equivalent positions available. But this project must pass through, again, this meeting process, so public comment period will happen in the state once the application is approved. If members of the community or council members have questions, they can feel free to reach out to myself or Dina at the hospital. And there is a website to share your experience with the hospital or submit a letter of support. And that is lookforwardmatsu.com. We'll hyphen in there with Matsu. And that's lookforwardmatsu.com. And we will be more than happy to answer any questions about the project. And also just want to put forth for anyone, for yourselves or anyone in the community, if you guys have any questions about how we fund entities or who we fund the Matsu Health Foundations, we funded over 462 programs. And roughly that's about 70% of all NGOs in Matsu has probably received funding from us at one point in time or another. We fund lots of entities, I think over 125 million together. And so we'll be more than happy to talk upon how we fund and who we fund throughout those projects and guidelines. Just feel free to reach out to Matsu Health Foundation and we can help clarify any issues or concerns or may not be able to clarify, but we just have an opportunity just to have conversations about things that you may disagree with, and we're open to hear that comment and feedback. We took a lot of comment and feedback through some of our previous years at membership meetings. We made some changes. Hopefully the community saw some of those changes happen in our previous membership meeting of concerns. And so we look forward to addressing, we are a community-based funder, and we will be actively participating in the community as a whole, representing all of Matsu residents, all 100,000+ individuals. So please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Ellen Van. Let's remove the roster. Carol Ryan Obi.
Hi, I'm Carol Ryan Obi. I had a whole thing to read to you, and you didn't call me back then, so it doesn't matter now. But there are some things I do want to say. Oh, I also went online. I don't know if any of you did, but I went online to see what the Matsu Health Foundation, who are they funding? And they're funding everybody. It's just amazing. It's just really amazing. But I do have something I've got to warn you about. There's a lot of people who speak about being afraid, and we should be afraid of this, and we should be afraid of that, and we should be afraid. And they point out letters like DEI and LG. I can't even remember all of them. But all those bad letters, and we should be afraid. And oh, we're going to turn into Anchorage, or we're going to turn into that. You all are there. I heard somebody say this. You're all there for the people of Palmer. You were voted by what party you are. That is not on the ballot. There's no your side against the other side. We're all together. We're all for the people of Palmer. And if you've lived in Palmer long enough, you just love this place. And it's just for the good of our people. And I want to thank you for taking away the old library. It was very sad. Kept driving by and seeing bits and pieces of it go. It was really, really sad. And I know you'll do good in the end. And thank you for approving the grants. And thank you, Matsu Health Foundation. And thank you, the person who put in the effort to write those grants. It's a lot of work. So I just want to thank you for being Palmer City Council.
Thank you. Is it Ms. Clemmer? I'm not sure if it's Teresa. Okay. Morgan Clemmer. Don't see anyone coming forward. Mark Mastler. I'm sure I got the last name right. Norm Harris. Tom Heroic. Cindy Hudgens. Okay. Paula Pettijohn.
Well, since you called me in, I just wanted to thank all for doing homework and finding out what was going on with the grant for the Matsu Health Foundation. I didn't have a clue, and so I appreciate you actually doing the homework and then letting me know, or letting us know. So anyway, good job, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else for audience participation? to race.
Wesley Arts, Palmer Bar. Okay. One of the things that over the last few years listening to this, that this council has an issue with is kicking the can down the road. You guys put off stuff. I don't know how many times I've heard 20 years ago we talked about this. It's becoming an issue. Like when you guys were talking about the city manager and all that, if you guys would have annexed stuff and had been doing that this whole time, that wouldn't be an issue. You guys are talking about the fire department and police leadership having to be close. Those are the last guys. They'll figure a way across the river if they live on Lazy. Those guys can get paid a lot more money to work at other places, but they choose to be here in Palmer. Please remember that. I'm kind of more worried about you guys showing up, and then I am them. They'll find a way to get here. Lazy and a lot of the people, they consider themselves part of Palmer, and so they are part of the community. Also, I have owned a business. I pay a lot of taxes here. I'm on an exemption to vote. You guys were talking about that earlier on where's Palmer. It's like annex areas. Let some of us give us where we can actually vote on this. You need to raise money. If you guys keep on the same pattern that you are right now, with like the music dealing with the library, we'll lose the golf course. Okay, you guys have a way of putting stuff back and pushing it back until it doesn't get done when it needs to get done. So please start thinking about the golf course. You guys need to raise money. That's going to cost us a lot of money dealing with the golf course. That's should be one of your highlight subjects right now is how are you going to raise money? Those are popping up that you're going, oh, we didn't pay that. Come on, you guys need to start thinking about that and start building your income sources. It's like we have old equipment, city equipment. We have all this stuff, yet you guys just keep on pushing it down the road, and this stuff isn't getting solved. Please think about the future. Quit thinking about yourself right now. Thank you.
Anyone else for audience participation?
It is Amanda Graham. I'm going to make this super quick because it's like really hot in here. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the IT services contract. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart because I see Palmer's growing. We are embracing technology as much as we can. And I know that earlier this year there was the cybersecurity assessment that the city had. And with you guys changing the next 6-month agreement to roll over in December, I guess one of my concerns is that A, we will just kick this can down the road again with ACS for another year and lose out on the potential of having another RFP go out so that we can have another idea of what could be out there for us for tech services. With a cybersecurity analysis, you want to get on those changes as soon as possible because of how quickly technology moves. And my concern is by kicking this out yet another 6 months, which I get to align it with the fiscal year that we end up putting this RFP out in November, which is problematic. The holidays rolling around, people are on vacation, and getting good RFPs in, because that's usually a pretty low time for putting things first. So just something to think.
Sure. Yes. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Joy Bailey. I work at the library. I'm the library director. I'll try to be quick too because it is hot in here. Last time I saw you it was at the train depot, and I gotta say that was a lot cooler and nicer. But I'm just here to tell you about how much fun the library's been having this summer. Our summer reading program has been going strong. We're up to 679 registered participants. That's kids and adults. We've been having programs each week. Our top 2 events have been this foam sword battle that somebody talked about earlier with over 200 people. We also did a Touch a Truck event to kick off the program. That was back in June. And again, we had over 200 people at that too. And that was really fun. That was in cooperation with the police department, the fire department, and public works. They brought out all of their trucks, parked them in the old library parking lot, and were available to answer questions about them, let kids climb all over them. It was a really good time, and so I'm really grateful to them for doing that for us. Last thing I'll say is our final party is at 11 o'clock at the depot, July 30th, to wrap up the summer reading program for the summer. We'll have the police grilling, so again, thank you to them for donating their time once again to us. So please come down, have a hot dog, celebrate a summer of reading with us. We would really love to see you. We've been honored to see you there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for audience participation?
Hello again, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jackie Goforth. You know, it seems that the blame for how long the library has been taking is falling on your shoulders and on mine. And actually, it was on 2 things. Number 1 is the insurance settlement was being negotiated. And number 2, there were alterations being done in the background of the library that were not done with anyone's knowledge or approval. And you know that. You know that. And yet people come here and say that you're not letting them have a library. That's not true. And another thing is, it's not a library. It's a community center. And so everybody who says they want a library, everyone wants a library. But this isn't a library. This is going to be a community center. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but we're having a vagrancy problem and a panhandling problem. And if you go in and out of the stores, you'll see that. And they've already taken out squatters' rights at the Sloan building. It's vacant. And a couple of years ago, they were squatting in engine number 5 and the pavilion. You knew that, right? Right? Well, like I said, I keep having to remember my time with the post office, and I was the Spenard station manager back in 01 to 04. Spenard is at the corner of Northern Lights in Minnesota. It's a very big vagrancy corner because they have beautiful benches made of concrete on either corner, and they make wonderful condos. Okay? They make wonderful places to stay. Well, the post office decided that they would bring picnic benches out to my building and put them outside so that the employees would have a place to eat. Well, the picnic bench became a homeless condo that first night, and I told them it would. And when I came into work at 5:30 in the morning, it had somebody sleeping underneath it, somebody on each bench, and a couple on top that was not sleeping. And they were removed. Removed because I don't allow that on postal property. And the very next day, the payback was human defecation on top of the picnic table. So when you have a building that is accessible and people take on their squatters' rights to it, when you build something, they will come. I walked past the Salt Lake City Library in January. It was cold, it was snowing, and I was hit for money 4 times just trying to get past that block. And I did not step into that block because there was dozens of people who had struck up encampments on that property. And I want you to also know that every single post office in Anchorage closes at 7 p.m. The doors are automatically locked, and they don't open until 7 a.m. They're not open 24 hours anymore, not since 2007, I think it was. And the reason why is the squatters were putting up squatters areas in those little alcoves. So should the homeless problem move this way, the post office won't be open 24 hours anymore either. So please, I'm grateful that you're allowing us the opportunity to actually speak about the vital downtown train corridor, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that hasn't had a chance to speak on this participation? Okay, we'll close audience participation. I believe next is council comments. Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to bow me off. Yeah, always, my last name Alcantara. I've pretty much given the first speech in every classroom I've ever been in. Hey, I want to thank everybody who was here and came out and testified. It is not the most enjoyable room to be in for several hours on Tuesday night, but make do, and I know people. It's important to hear what you have to say, and I appreciate our Wasilla friend, Mr. David Wilson, making it here to kind of give us some answers that we needed. I will say that I'm pretty Palmer-centric. I mean, I'm a Palmer guy. I've lived in the Butte. I've lived at the yellow house that you see when you come in. It's across Meyer Lake from the Legion. Back when I was really, really young, my parents had 17,000 chickens. I've lived in the city. I lived up on Bailey Hill. I've lived at Jocelyn Lane for 21 years. And as many probably know, my granddaughter's name is Palmer. My son lives in Wasilla with his girlfriend. His son will be born here in a couple months. My son's still 20 years old, having a second kid. And if he names him Wasilla, we're going to come to blows. But we'll see. I mean, every adult's got to make their own decision. But I won't apologize for wanting people to live in and around Palmer, especially top-end employees of the city. And I think that's the way it should be. We made a different decision tonight, and that's the part of what you do up here. Sometimes you're on the losing end of a vote, and sometimes you're not. So the voters will get to speak on the city manager situation, but we've decided, hey, let's just open it up to wherever. And it's not what I wanted us to do, but it's what the majority wanted us to do, and that's how this thing works. So I'm okay with that. I want to really thank Councilmember Josh Tudor for not just the beautiful trinkets, especially the fan that I know I'm losing to my 17-year-old daughter in the next 60 minutes probably, but everything he brought, but more so than the gifts that Councilmember Tudor brought back, but his actual advocacy for Palmer, why he was in Japan and in Saroma. I think it was incredible money well spent. If you caught any of his speeches or participation online, extremely well done. And I hate to be so effusive in my praise because I'm the person that turned in 30 sponsors today, 29 of which I'm very comfortable will vote for me. One probably not because it'll be my competition. But so I hate to be too effusive in my praise of my fellow city council member Josh Tudor, but I did want to say fantastic job, Josh, in all sincerity for what you did over there and what you do here for us. I want to say celebrate Palmer Friday. Come hit me with the cream pie. I know you want to, so get out there and pay that $5 and smash the case of the pie. Wilson's in for at least $20, so I'll see you there. Lastly, I want to show my Palmer appreciation. We have a regular attending. I thought he left for the night, but he really didn't. You guys know by looking at me, I never really had a beer I don't like. But Palmer Brewing Company, Alaska's Heartland Brewery, is going to be fired up by Frank Bell and his partners, and where the old Arcos used to be. And I can guarantee I'll be one of the first customers through the door. Not just because they have a cool Palmer Pioneer Peak and Water Tower sticker, but because that's what it should be about, economic development in and around Palmer. And that's what this whole thing should be about. So I applaud folks like Mr. Arts who had to leave, whether they live in Palmer or not, but they're opening businesses and running businesses in our city, and that's fantastic. And I wish Mr. Bell and all his colleagues the best of success. See you guys Friday. We won't be here again until my 30th wedding anniversary on August 12th. So luckily, my lovely bride of 30 years is going to let me take her somewhere on August 15th and 16th. But I'll see y'all back here on August 12th, which 30 years goes by fast, and it's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Irby.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I too wanted to thank everybody for coming in support of the library. Libraries have evolved over the years. They are community centers. if you didn't know, 50 years ago, this room that we're sitting in right now used to be the library for Palmer. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say that this last weekend, my family, we enjoyed going to Woodstock. It was the first year they had it. It was over at Wade's Bison Ranch, and it was amazing. Lots of fun. I believe that there was multiple news outlets there covering it, so you should go check it out. But we just had a great time. There was great local bands that were there, food trucks, Husky Burger was there. It was really great. And shout out to them for a good burger. And also, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And again, I just really want to reiterate that everything, moves and evolves, and it continues to move and evolve. And we have tried as a council, I feel like, to be extremely mindful of listening to the constituents and who we place in leadership positions within the city. And there just really comes a time where we have to trust them to start, making good decisions for the city without second guessing them constantly and giving them that room to grow in their position as their own individual. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming tonight, and I hope you guys have a great week.
Alternate Deputy Mayor Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to apologize to the council for not being there in person. I contracted COVID last week, and I didn't want to potentially give it to somebody else. So, again, I apologize for not being there in person, but I'm glad that we have the Zoom thing. And as Mr. Alcantara said, see you on Friday. And John, I do have $5.
All right. Deputy Mayor Tudor.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say to Councilman Cooper, thank you for not being here. I appreciate that. And Councilman Kemp, thank you so much for the kind words. Earlier today, we signed each other's candidate paper, so it seems to be good. And I just want to give an update on what happened in Japan. So I just want to say thank you so much to the City Council and for the City of Palmer for allowing me to go to Japan, to Soroma, to represent you. It was a huge honor, and I made some meaningful connections with our sister city, which is the longest running sister city program in Alaska. The Soroma mayor, vice mayor, and others were gracious hosts. They were friendly, quick with a joke, and they told me that they had not smiled this much in years. We had some amazing people on the trip with me. We had Robert and Marilyn Baum, Linda Combs, Leland C. Johnson, Laura Sampson, Jack Porter, Sandra Holmes, Tanya Lang, Mike and Lee from Big Coverage Radio, Hiram, Carla Swick, Lance Swick, and many others who were all amazing on the trip. And one thing that was very apparent to me from being on this was that Soroma values our sister city connection to the highest degree. In their schools, in their city hall, and even in the gymnasiums, you can find pictures of Palmer. You can find where we have the things that we brought as Palmer to them up on the walls. And they did everything they can to showcase our amazing city to us. They sent multiple people with us the whole time, not just Yuko, who was kind of herding cats, making sure we got where we needed to go, but they had other people there to help out with all sorts of things. It was very clear that they put a lot of time and attention into this journey for us. And during this 45th anniversary, I found out too that Soroma also makes sure that when they get ALTs from Alaska, they're from Palmer, because it matters that much then that they have Palmer people in Soroma. We got to tour their schools, their industries, their amenities, and of course the 45th anniversary celebration was amazing. It was followed, we had great speeches followed by food, entertainment, gift giving. And we have some pretty amazing gifts coming to City Hall from Soroma as well. Those are being mailed up. I will say that the Palmer delegation went above and beyond with the gifts. They did a really amazing job. And we're going to hear about that at a future meeting when they can mostly all be here. But it's going to be really great. I can't say enough about Carla Swick and the delegation. They really did amazing with their gifts. They're going to be front and center in the town of Soroma. And I was very pleased to give a speech to Sloan on behalf of the City of Palmer that also made the paper, which was nice to see. And I was able to speak some of it in Japanese, which hopefully didn't goober up too much. I got some good thumbs up for the mayor, vice mayor, and some others when I stepped up the stage. And then they had a mayor's gift portion. Mayor Carrington was gracious enough to send over a City of Palmer logo blanket. And I also included some signed Matsu Miners baseballs, some shirts, some signed items from Chad Carpenter from Tundra, frame painting, and some other things that help showcase our city. And I probably passed out, probably 400 Palmer pins and stickers and drink koozies our city manager gave me to bring over. It was literally half my luggage. And it was great to see the people starting to love them. They immediately put them on their hats and on their clothes. It was really great. But long story short, the whole delegation from Palmer did a really great job showing the kindness that Palmer is known for. Despite the language barrier, there were a lot of laughs, there were great communication, and perfect behavior from the delegation. One evening, the Sonoma mayor and his wife hosted myself and Delaney C. Johnson for a barbecue at his house that ended up with him showing us pictures from several different photo albums that he had from his visit to Palmer about 30 years ago. And he cherished those. Those were a big deal. And he made sure to go through them, and he just once again told us that he's had more fun since we were there in years. They were definitely an important day for them. And one night we were all invited to go to a traditional Japanese celebration, and many of us danced in it, and it was a lot of fun. And the vice mayor on the way home told me how happy the people of Sonoma were that we participated. Every chance that we got, we made sure to share the traditions and the culture of Sonoma, Japan. And the reason why I'm saying this is to make a distinct point. The Sister City program is a transformative thing that breaks down distance and language barriers between our two cities. Sonoma is a special town in Japan. It's agricultural, much like Palmer, but filled with warmth and friendship. When we walked around the town, oftentimes in the evenings, people would peek out their windows and say konnichiwa. They just wanted to say hi and just be seen. And thanks to Google Translate, we could have really good communications. And we made really good connections with everybody there. So in a few years, we're going to have the opportunity to host Sonoma here in Palmer. And from the photo albums and the stories they told me, they're really looking forward to this. The people of Sonoma love the opportunities they had last time to see the glaciers, to visit last state fair, go to local farms, and just see Palmer, see Alaska. And what I would recommend when we get those gifts from Sonoma in the mail, I would recommend that we hang them in prominent position in City Hall with plaques on there so we understand the significance. The trip was incredible and it was life-changing. I cannot thank all of you enough for allowing me to go to that. The opportunity to travel to Sonoma and represent the city of Palmer. As deputy mayor, I've had many opportunities to represent Palmer and give speeches, but this was the most amazing opportunity in my life. So I'm going to ask for council support just to be safe, because what I'd like to have happen is our next council meeting, have the Sonoma delegation here, mostly all here, that can help present to the city of Palmer and the council some of the things they did and some of their experiences.
We're done.
Thank you.
All right, and again, reminder that Friday, 5 o'clock is Celebrate Palmer, and there'll be a few council members in there that you can cream with a pie as a fundraiser. And also, apparently, the Matsu Miners lost 3-4 tonight, so they'll be again, but they have one more chance tomorrow night. So
They lost 4-3 today.
Yeah,
4-3. So we're adjourned at 9:25.
That's our first loss.